It is. It's podcast day. We're excited. We're digging out there. What have we got? Ooh, yeah.
Dude, it's fucking podcast day.
Takes you back to that time when you remember what you were doing when you first listened to that album, or
What is going on, you champions? That's right. Yes.
What up?
Podcast day. Two dudes talk music. Yes, and stew. I've been stewing on this shit all day.
What is going on?
Yes.
It's that time. It's that time. Podcast time. Yeah, spill the beans, man. Spill the beans. We want it. We want this. The exclusive details.
We're live. We're live.
We are live.
Love that sound.
Yeah, bruh.
Love that sound. There we go.
you're
I'm
on
on
the
these ones.
solos.
I'm on the
Yeah.
hard solos.
How good are they?
They're dangerous.
They are.
They are dangerous because they
You can
taste like
sl-
solo, and
you
that's
can
it.
slam them down fast.
You can smash them super quick.
Yeah, and they got a bit of a sting to them too. You know, like they get you there. They most certainly get you there.
They do. They are nice. They are nice. How you been, brother?
Dude, I've been good, been busy, work, and starting to get back into the beer buddy thing. I had a boys' weekend at the Kangaroo Valley on the weekend, caught up with all the old cricket boys, and I got a good talking to. They were like, mate, we're missing beer buddy. You got to get back into it. And lo and behold, they gave me my first lot of reviews.
Ah,
It was
awesome.
very
There you
generous. So this weekend you
go.
can expect a beer buddy review. We're back at it. We are back
Oh,
at it.
great. Well, go and subscribe to the Beer Buddy channel. Go and do that while you're watching ours on the other screen.
What about you? How's everything
man.
going? Nuclear Vision, because you're coming up to the
Nuclear
show.
Vision's
Like,
good. Yep, it is. It's going well. We got we got a rehearsal this weekend coming up for that, which is
Nice.
going to be pretty sick. And also, obviously, today with the announcement of Wallapalooza, which
I did
is
see that.
that's a big one. While we're on it, let's go and have a look at that actually, because
Oh,
that announcement.
Wasn't who was the headline for that?
So if you haven't seen the announcement yet, basically, Wallapalooza is coming back bigger and better than ever. They're going to have 3 stages because they're going to be an outdoor stage in the car park of the Wallaby Hotel.
That is
this
so
time around.
fucking cool.
So it's going to be 3 stages, and the big names. There's some big names on this one, right? If you know your Aussie music, and you especially over the last 20 years, you're going to know this one. We got
it's
headliners.
so divine.
Headlined by Pog, 28 Days, Butterfingers, Fuck, I'm good, just ask me, and we got an international flavour this time around because they got Ladybeard coming over from Japan. Now, if you don't know Ladybeard, Ladybeard is an Australian wrestler who is also a musician in a band that it's basically take baby metal, right, and replace one of the singers with a 6'6" jacked Aussie dude, but still wearing the like
I remember
the
that
kit
guy.
of the guy. Yes,
He did an actual song with them, with Baby Metal, didn't he? He's the big Aussie dude, and he has the.
I don't know if he did a whole
pigtails.
song. I don't know if he did a whole song with them, but he has his own band group called Baby Beard, which is basically the same thing.
How haven't I heard of this?
So it's going to be unreal. That's a very solid. And I mean, on top of that, right? Then we get down to the rest of it there. So we got Anti Azrael. We got These Four Walls. We got Rhino. We got Rick Dangerous and the Silky Bantams. We got Dream Killers, Black Swamp, Dalga Crave Death, Emu Mountain Wizard Death Cult. If that's all one band or not, I don't know. Snake Mountain, Wicked Things, Nuclear Vision, Chaosphere, Adriatic, The Crypt Daddies, Dirty Brew, Trillions, Frozen Eddie, Tokyo Beef, Cobra Kai, 010, Piston Fist, Bees Machine, Serpentine Sky, Serpentum, Call the Morning, and Strange Motel. Just let me catch my breath after listing all those
They
bands.
just call every decent band from Queensland, and everyone just said
Man,
yes.
I think they've just gone, hey, let's just call half the Brisbane metal scene, half the Queensland metal scene, and just go hog wild on them.
Out.
So That's a big one. That is a big one,
Just a
man.
smidge, like
That's Saturday, November 4th at
that
the Wallaby
is-
Hotel on the Gold
that is
Coast.
like fucking. That reminds me of home bake. That's like
So,
a
mate-
home bake lineup. That's like a home
That's,
bake lineup.
that's strong, man. That is a massive, massive bunch of Aussie content and Aussie
Fuck,
metal
yeah.
right there. So I'm looking forward to that one. I know it's going to be a hectic day and I'm not going to get to see everyone, but the chance to see 28 days, I'm fucking
Wait,
pumped
Cog?
about that.
I'm-
Let me tell you up there. You know what? Okay, Cog's great. Cog's great. I
I'm
was
fair.
never as into them.
Okay,
I was
fair
never
enough.
that into them, to be honest. But man, 28 days is just like
Yeah, I
rip
could
it up.
take
Rip
or
it up. I
leave
played
Yeah,
Rip It Up
It
until the
yeah.
CD broke. You know what I mean? Like
I
Rip
could
It Up
take or
was
leave it.
was the shit. But
Spider-Man, I could take
yeah.
or leave. But man,
Either way,
man,
that's
that
gonna
is
be
legit.
crazy. So
You know
that's
what?
big.
I'm going up to that one. Fuck it.
Yeah, you'll have to. Man.
I'm going. I'm not gonna miss.
We need you. We need your coverage, man. You cover the live shows way better than I do.
Yeah, I'll
That's
get in
definitely-
there. All right. This might be a job for the big announcement next week once it all gets paid.
Yes, yes.
for
So
Beer
that's going to
Buddy.
be good.
Yeah, so-
big announcement there. Just quickly running through some gigs that are coming up this weekend as well, because I know we've been a bit slacking on that, and we're trying to make sure it's happening.
We do because
So
I've got to get my
if
one
you're in
up
a
too.
band and you have shows happening, send us the details.
Yes, we'll
we will
promote the
shout them
shit
out
out
on the
of it.
stream. Give us your fucking details of your gigs, and we'll shout them out on the stream. Right now, we're just working off what I get invited to on Facebook. So, if you got a band and you want to talk some stuff, let us know. So, if you're in Melbourne, tomorrow night, if you like your industrial metal, you are going to want to see this one. So we got Boot Sequence Nightclub, Friday the 29th in Melbourne. You got some guests from the podcast, actually. You got Cyrus
Hey.
and Nevo
Oh,
that are
and
playing
Nevo
down
been
there.
making some real grounds lately too. So you really want to get on that
Mhm.
live show for Nevo because they
Yep.
get it. They're
They're
fucking
doing
get
good.
it.
They've been really kicking ass. And then you got Studio X as well, and Irreparable. So that's going to be and there's a bunch of DJs going to be happening down there. So that's a crazy show. Like that's a good one if you want to get down there. And then also in Tambourine, we got it's another one of the marketplace things. I follow a food truck profile on Facebook for some reason, and I keep getting invited to market things they're going to be at. But you got Tambourine Village Lions Club Community Market on Sunday. That's I think all I've got in here for this weekend. But like I said, guys, if you're in a band and you
I've
want us
got
to
one.
shout out your shows, yep, you got one.
So down in Camden this weekend, make sure you get out there. Camden Sports Club. It's going to be an absolute doozy. They are kicking it off. They are kicking off the Ram It Down Fest 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait. You're going to get more band coverage because I'm heading down there to this one. This is an all ages show, so I'm dragging the kids around, kids and the wife down for a bit. They're going to get a taste of it.
Perfect.
So I
That's
just got to
good.
make sure I get them some decent headphones because it's going to be freaking loud in there, and they got to save their tiny little ears.
Mm-hmm.
So kids under 12 get in free. If you want to bring the kidlets, bring them down. Camden Sports Club. Come grab a feed. Come listen to some great music. Let's see. First month you will see. Excuse me. Dark Order, Destruction of the Healer, Decimator, Van
Love me some
Lucia,
Dark Order.
Mourners, and Death Penalty. So that's the first one. That's pretty stacked. I mean, Dark Order and even like Decimator are fucking hectic. Lance, I'm pretty sure, is organising that, and we're going to see what work we can do with him in the upcoming future. So yeah,
That's awesome,
this
man.
Saturday
That's great. There's
kicks
some
off at
good
12.
shows this week,
man, and they're just rolling at the moment. So it's getting to the point now, and this is what I miss back in Sydney. It doesn't matter what part you are in Sydney, you will be able
There's
to get to
stuff
something
happening.
within your sort of area. It's not
Yes.
like you've got to go out to the city every weekend now. It's starting to come back out into the burbs.
Yes, that's awesome. That's good to see. And just one last bit of news that I want to bring up on the podcast before we get to our guest, who I know is eagerly awaiting coming on here. I know he's
Yeah,
very
I know,
keen.
I know.
I know he's very, very keen.
And we're keen
But
too.
and we're keen as well. But I do want to bring this up because it's a topic that we have touched on multiple times on the podcast. So much so that people are probably sick of us talking about it. But we're very passionate about it. So this, I don't know if you've seen this.
Oh, dear.
This is going
I know
around.
exactly what you're talking about.
Live Nation has announced that immediately they will be ending merch cuts at. Now, I don't know if this is their venues, their shows, either and or both. I don't know exactly how it all works, but that Live Nation has announced that effective immediately they are no longer going to be requesting merch cuts from bands on their shows. Now, this is a good move. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy to hear this. That doesn't mean I'm immediately going to be sucking Live Nation's dick. There's plenty of shitty tactics and things that they do across the board, but this is a good move.
This is a step in the right direction.
You have to applaud. You have to reward the behavior that you want to see.
Yep.
So I will give them credit on this, and I will say thank you, Live Nation. You have made the right move. Yep, we'll give a cheers to that. You have made the right move in this case. Let's hope to see more artist-friendly moves in future.
Let's see it. Let's see. Can confirm had solos and are dangerous. Oh.
And let's hope that the that other venues and shows and bookers that are not under the Live Nation banner follow suit with this decision. Because when the industry leaders make a decision, most of the people are going to be likely to follow. So, all that said, let's get to the reason for the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have been working our way through these bands for the New Metal Mayhem, show. We have been trying to get on top of what's going on and all of the bands that are here, that we're watching, that are playing, that we're seeing at this fucking tour. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought for a minute there.
The solos hit hard, buddy.
So we've been working our way through that lineup. We have had Void Matter. We have had... where's it gone?
We have had Void Matter. We have had Sin Soto.
Yes, we have had We the
Piston
Hollow.
Fist.
We've had Nuclear Vision. We have had Piston Fist. Now we're getting to the pointy end.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're getting towards the pointy end. So now we have a representative from the band that is put this whole thing together. We have with us everybody's best friend. You know him. You love him. We know him. We love him.
We do.
It is CJ from KAOSIS. Mate, how you doing?
What is cracking, my dude?
I'm good, gents. Thanks for having me back.
Anytime. Significantly less dreadlocks this time.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, my head is
less.
very lighter. Yes, it's. I don't know if you can see from the covering thing, but yeah, the dreads are gone.
Oh wow.
Very much gone.
No more dreads.
How did your neck feel?
No.
How did your neck feel after that?
I had vertigo for about a week and a half after it, because when the decision came, because I was meant to fly over to do a whole bunch of rehearsals with KAOSIS at that point, and a few things changed and I had to move my flight. So I had a weekend where I just had nothing on. And I'm like, I'd been kind of thinking about doing it for a while. And then when I kind of realized what I was going to have to be wearing on this tour, mixed with like not being over them, but just kind of needing a sense of change, I guess. Me and the misso for 2.5 days decided to brush them out. And I didn't realize how much hair was on my head until you brush out like a head full of dreadlocks that's past your ass. So it was literally a kilo of hair that we had just in a trash bag at the end of it. And we finished at about 1 a.m. on the Saturday morning. And then the next morning I got up to go to the hairdresser to make it look nice. And I literally fell over as soon as I got out of bed. Literally, I had really, really bad vertigo, especially going from laying down to sitting up or like bending over to get something out of the cupboard and then coming back up. Immediately was getting like the big spinnies and shit like that. So yeah, it was a big move coming. I've had them for like, God, a long time. So I kind of felt like I was at the point where I was like, yeah, this is the time to do it. But the thing that's kind of the good repercussion of it is realizing the amount of masks and balaclavas that I'm going to be wearing on this New Metal Mayhem tour, and just having dreads just sit in a pool of sweat for like 2.5 weeks straight. I'm like, dude, they're going to go after that tour anyway. They're going to be too fucking smelly to have on my head. So, it's kind of a good repercussion to have that, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How long did you have the dreads and shit in for though? Like that.
It was a good like 7 years. I had the dreads and I grew my hair out for about 3 or 4 years before that. So it was a long time of having long hair. So, and I wanted to brush them out rather than just shave it off to see if I could not have to go through the afro stage of growing hair back out once you shave your head, kind of a thing. So, because the running joke is that I look like Seth Rogen when I don't, because it's just like ringlet curls. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going through fucking 2 years of putting up with that
come on,
bullshit
we
again.
we need to see Seth Rogen CJ. That's what we need.
Oh, it's there. Oh, there's photos.
Bro,
if you scroll back on my Facebook, you'll see it, man.
We could try to do like a drum off between the Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer and
Will Ferrell,
and then Seth Rogen and yourself.
Look, if it was me back in the day when I used to smoke weed, we could have a weed, like, you know, a bong off or some shit. But if we did it these days, I'd probably get like 2 in, and I would collapse and green out and just embarrass myself. So
that's all right, I'll take
let's not
you
do that.
You drum and I'll smoke.
Yeah,
done. I don't know if Seth Rogen is a drummer, so I kind of feel like it's not an equal playing side, but fuck it, I'll take him. I'll punch on.
Actually, speaking of the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I can never remember his name. I'm sorry.
Chad Smith.
Chad Smith, that's the one. There's a video going around. He basically he's doing this thing. I don't know if it's like on his YouTube channel or what it is, but
the Drumeo thing for 30 seconds.
Yeah, where they show him a 30 seconds Mars song which he's never heard before, and they're like,
they've got some good shit, man.
They're like, you come up with drums for this song.
No, so what they do, because they've done it before. They had Dennis Chambers did Schism from Tool. So what they do is they play him the drumless track. They'll have a listen to it and jam to it, and then they'll do a take or two. It's the same as what was one? There was Thomas Lang, who in the drumming world is just god tier level of drummer. Did it for Metallica's Lux Eterna. They played him without the drums. Then he had to come up with parts to it, kind of a thing. So they do really cool shit like that on the Drumeo channel. It's a really good channel, actually. It's really good.
I do think that idea. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. I loved through that.
Yeah, I loved it because you had Dennis Chambers, who used to do he's renowned for a lot of big pop artists, and he's again god tier level kind of drummer, and has been for fucking decades. For him to play Schism, and it's fucking the thing that kind of gets you is how uncanny and close they actually get to the original. So it's like Dennis Chambers on Danny Carey of Tool. It's pretty cool. I like that shit.
I have to check this shit out.
Yeah, it's worth a go through, and they've got heaps of ones, and then they finally did it to the dude that puts them through all of that. They put him behind the kit, and he's like, "What's the song that you guys are going to give me?" And they gave him the Dying Song by Slipknot. And he's just like, "Fuck, is this how shit it feels to be on the other end of this shit?" Because that's not a fucking easy song, man. So.
Nice.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's worth it.
I'm just having a look at some of Dennis Chambers' stuff, credits. And
he's
on
done
everything.
That so much, man.
He's
one of my favorite albums he did was with Victor Wooten, the bass player. He was what was it, Tripology, I think it was, or something like that. I used to listen to that shit heaps back in the day. It was really, really fucking good.
I'm not surprised he's done a lot of stuff with Victor Wooten. Or, I mean, he's probably done a bunch of stuff with Marcus Miller as well, so...
he has. He has.
One of those guys that you've heard his work 1,000 times and you just don't know the name.
Yeah. And then when you see him, he talks, he's just so quiet and reserved when you hear him talk. It's just kind of dude's a fucking Jedi master of fucking drums, man. I'm just waiting for him to start talking dyslexic like Yoda in another decade time when he comes to that point.
That's what I love though, man. You take these guys that are behind the scenes on so much, and they're always so humble, so polite, and ready to, as good as they are, always ready to test themselves or learn something new or find out where they're maybe not so good at something and see where they can improve it or what else they can learn out of a situation or out of a piece of music.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dudes like that in the drumming world that I think don't get the limelight in the same way that another dude would. But it's not until all of a sudden you've just done and gone and looked at their discography and gone, who have they worked with, and then you just see the plethora of shit and you go, oh my god, and each one of those pieces of work is just such an outstanding piece of art that they've created. It's fucking insane, dude. I mean, it was Jeff Porcaro from Toto, before he passed away, rest his soul. He was the largest recorded session drummer, and that record was only broken, I think, about 10 years ago or something like that. But you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know half of the stuff that he's done apart from Toto, but
Yeah.
And again, god tier level fucking drummer. Like that Rosanna beat, man, that's all Jeff Porcaro. And that was revolutionizing that was one of the first real fusion things that you kind of heard of modern beats, of doing a shuffle beat mixed with a clave pattern on the kicks. I know I'm like super nerding out here, and everyone's just kind of probably like,
"That's fine, man. That's what we do."
But God, that shit was fucking revolutionary, man. And I wasn't even alive for it, bro.
I love that shit though, and like that's why I love finding some of these virtuosos. You know, like it's worth finding if you're genuinely passionate about your instrument. I think it's worth seeking out some of the virtuosos, and you don't have to like learn to play like them, but you just have to think, okay, what is it that they bring to their approach that I can learn and utilize?
Yes.
And a lot of it comes down to passion and openness and willingness to learn new techniques and styles.
And the thing is too, this is something like that isn't spoken about that often. And this is probably like a little bit of a tangent here, but the thing is, all of these dudes are so easily accessible to get a hold of online. And I kind of had this kind of revolutionized kind of style of thinking a couple of years ago. And it was towards the later era of me being in Discuss, a couple of months before I left. But I started getting lessons with Ryan Van Poodleroyn. For people who don't know, is the drummer or the ex-drummer of the Devin Townsend Project. Now drums for his own band, a Monolith, who's got like the singer of what was their name? They're still around. Fuck, it'll come to me. But yeah, another really big Canadian metal band, and literally was at a point where I was like, I want to learn more about my instrument again, and I kind of feel like I've come to the point of I can only do so much on my own. And I literally just sent him a message. I was literally just like, I just put my heart on my sleeve and just like, dude, do you do lessons? If you do, this is where I'm at. I would love to somehow make this work. Literally got back to me within an hour, 2 hours. Was like, yeah, dude, let's have a lesson tomorrow. He was my teacher for 2 years. Wow. You know what I mean? And it's just like so, and I think it's like a message I always love to put out to people is like, your idols, you can always reach out to them for lessons or buy their time. You know, even if you go, I'll pay you $200 for an hour just to sit down with someone that you would personally have loved to have learned from. Wow. You'll be surprised how many of these dudes are so easily accessible to get in touch with. And I kind of feel like if you're a muso and you're learning and you're passionate about your instrument and you want to get better at learning your instrument, these people have lived and done shit that we can never imagine having done in our lifetimes. Or if we have, they've done it on a completely different perspective. These people are so easily accessible to do it. There's no reason why you just, what's the worst that can happen? You send an email and they don't get back to you. Like, oh no, boo-hoo. It's like, oh well, you move forward. You know what I mean? But like now I get lessons off Grant Collins in Brisbane, and I've gotten quite a few one-off lessons from a bunch of different other dudes. Like Dave Illich, who was with Miley Cyrus, Mars Volta, all of that kind of shit. You can get lessons with these people. Like it's another side hustle that they do. So it's like, if you want to, they're like, I'm sure if you reached out to a bass player or a vocalist or something like that to ask them to sit down and talk about their craft with them for an hour, you can fucking do it. And that hour, I always say, is like an equivalent to 1,000 hours of practice. Because there's just so much shit you get out of just talking with these dudes for an hour. It's fucking ridiculous. So side tangent, but it's like, don't feel like you can never get in touch with these people to get lessons off of, because it's fucking ridiculous. You know, you can absolutely do it. So
that's crazy.
Rant over. But,
no, that's such a good bit of advice for anyone out there. How to like these, mate, they're out there. All you can do is ask, and all they can do is either say no, not get back to you, or the ultimate thing is say yes. And then
exactly.
And the big thing is though, don't go wasting these people's time. Like you got to be able, you got to be able to bring some noise to. If you're going to learn, don't walk in there like this ain't no Joe Satriani thing where you walk in there with strings and guitar and go like, be my teacher. This is, you got to sort of.
And you have to be respectful in the way you approach it too.
Yes.
Like if they say, you know, if they say no, they've said no, and that's it, and you need to be accepting of that. Like
you just say, thanks, man. I just appreciate that you even fucking responded to some little yokel fucking honky dude like me from Logan. So thank you. You know.
How did you go with your drum clinics? Because they sold pretty well.
That's sold out. So yeah, I guess the last time we did talk was before that.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it
the
was.
clinic
It was
went really well. Yeah. So look, it was only a small one to do to test the waters, and we were trying to tee one up for the New Metal Mayhem, but just with time and energy and effort that would have gone into
mate,
it would
you
have
guys got
taken away from that. You know, so
12 shows over 13 days.
12 shows over 13 days, which is just insane. So we were trying to tee one up for the Gold Coast because that morning is the one morning where we don't have to travel anywhere or get on a plane balls early to do it. But unfortunately, things just didn't line up the way we were kind of hoping it would. But yeah, the clinic went really well. It was a good response. It was kind of a weird thing in my mind because I don't know for you guys at least, but like drum clinics when I was growing up was a huge thing to kind of go to because that's where you would get to rub shoulders with some of the greats and you would get to see them without a band. It was there's no thing in front of them, you know. And God, there's some of the best memories of my life is going to drum clinics, and in particular Dom Famularo, which if you're not a drummer might not know that well, but he's like the Ice-T of rap basically is what I would say to him in the drum world. You know, and unfortunately he's very ill at the moment, and we're all sending a lot of love to him. And, you know, I've reached out to him a couple of times via email. And that was amazing to get to do it. So, you know, to be in the position of these people, the daunting task at first is like, what the fuck do I do for an hour? You know, like what knowledge do I have? Do I just sit there and talk at people? Do I play? And then it was just drawing a lot of inspo from previous clinics that I had done. Talking to other drummers that I know successful, like highly successful, to local dudes that have done them, just to be like, what did you find to be problematic? What was good? What didn't work? What are some things that people don't think about? And altogether, it came together really, really well. You know, we did do a dream giveaway, and there were two little young girls at the front, and one of them got the dream giveaway, which is really cool. You know, so it was really cool to see them be really inspired, and you know, it was a really good experience to get to do it. So there's definitely a lot more bullshit. There's definitely a lot more on the cards for the future next year, because I think after this tour, I think I'm just going to crawl into a hole and just metamorphosize into a normal human being. Yeah, I'm going to hibernate and just turn into a normal person after this tour. But yeah, definitely a lot more to go.
Just take out your bare feet, walk on some grass, soak it.
Yeah, damn straight. Because and it was good. You know, it was definitely a lot to learn doing a clinic, and it felt really good in rehearsals. And until you get on stage, or you get there and there's a really tight room with like 30 people that are just staring at you, you're kind of like, oh shit. There is no band to hide anything. There is no mask to hold my stupid facial expressions when I'm concentrating, you know, and then you finish your song and then you're like, right, I'm going to talk about this. So, you know, and it was a really weird, eclectic group of people because there was a lot of industry people that were drummers and bands that were there, to people that hadn't never played before, to people that weren't drummers that aren't interested but just wanted to go to see what it would be like. So it was really cool to pick the topics that I did talk about and show, and it did kind of not teach, but it just kind of like conveyed some things to the professionals that they might not have thought about or revisited for a while. To the new people, it gave them perspective on them starting off. And to the people that weren't there, they could walk away going, holy shit, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about this. So I'm glad I could kind of tick all of those boxes, you know. And Dream were really happy. They were really awesome to work with for the clinic, and same with Riffs and Licks and all of that too. So yeah, it was a very successful event. I definitely did learn a lot, and it's just waiting for the new year to kind of pull some new things off with that. But yeah, with this tour, it's kind of, I think everyone kind of underestimated how much time and effort it was going to take to pull this tour off, you know, and especially now being, what is it, like a week and a bit out from it starting, you know.
In 2 weeks' time, Kyle will have been to the first show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, me, not just me and my dad. I'm taking my dad for this experience.
That's
nice.
exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
And you guys can meet.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys can meet in person as well.
The inspiration of what got me into metal, what put me on my metal path, Dad.
Nice, man. I love that wholesome shit. That's fucking great.
We're a family of metalheads, which is generational. We got no choice.
It's gonna be a fucking cracker tour, man. And like, look, I'm sure you guys have got a lot of questions to ask about that.
Yeah,
but
Well, yeah. I
we
mean,
got
yeah.
so let's get onto that right now. So obviously,
Done.
you were saying before we went live that, well, when you've said just now, there's been, the preparation has been so much more than what anyone expected for it. What can you tell us about the process for yourself and for, the rest of Chaosis for preparing for something like this, especially not just to be part of it, performing it, but being behind organizing and coordinating so much of it? How's that been for you guys? Because I imagine it's been very stressful. To put it lightly.
One of the words of the words that comes to it, man. It's
I think you can throw an F-bomb in front of that.
Yeah, I'll keep them. I'll reserve them for impact. Put it that way. But yeah, no. Look, it's definitely been a big learning experience. I'll talk from the Chaosis camp first, because for people that don't know Chaosis or have never seen us before but know of us, we're not. I hate to use the term band because we are, but it's also very much a stage production. Like, we joke about calling ourselves like theater metal in a lot of ways, because it's not just here's a guitarist, a bassist, and a vocalist and a drummer, off you go. We have choreographed dances at the front. We have a lot of visual things that are very different. And, a lot of the runs of shows we did last year was really to figure out what was working and what wasn't working. And from that, at the end of last year, we literally played our last show before these couple that have been over the past month or two. We played our last one at New Year's, and Joel went into overdrive to finishing this second album, getting everything ready to go for that. And then once that was kind of done, it was also the talks of what are we going to do for our next tour, and this is where, with a lot of the guest features that Joel has pulled together for this next album, was kind of figuring out who can we pull on, to bring down here, that's a worthwhile tour for people to come and see. And Joel and Anders have been talking a lot about it, and our first single, Breaking the Fallen, had Anders and Jeffrey Nothing. And I can say initially this tour was meant to be Jeffrey Nothing and Anders Kolsefny. That was originally what it was going to be. And unfortunately, due to personal reasons in the Jeffrey Nothing camp, he was a very tentative yes for a while, and it was really, really on ice. And he was just like, boys, I can't do this while I'm dealing with a lot of the stuff that's going on in my personal life right now. And the whole selling point we knew was going to be Slipknot and Mushroom Head, even though it's not necessarily Mushroom Head and the Slipknot incarnation we know as now.
Yeah.
That was the selling point, bringing that together for the first time properly. So Joel went to work in his camp and reached out to Waylon, and Waylon was on board. All of this kind of stuff, which is really, really cool. And then once you kind of have it booked in, it's easy to book it in. But then the thing is, you think about what are we actually going to do production wise, because Waylon's only bringing himself out in a drummer. Anders is only himself. We can't call on Joey Jordison and Paul Gray and half of the dudes that recorded Made Feed Kill Repeat to do the album, so you start to have those questions that start to roll in your head and kind of go, fuck, well, what do we do here? And being very much an independent band and an independent tour that we're running with this, we basically have to call on whatever resources we have available in our camp. So we've got an ex-guitarist of Chaosis that's playing with Waylon. There's James from Piston Fist is playing bass as well for Waylon's set.
Oh, wow.
The fact that, and the fact that it took, I don't know if it took a bit of talking or not, but the fact that Waylon agreed to play Mushroom Head songs as well for the first time since his departure. Mm-hmm. So that kind of added another element to it as well. And I don't really think Joel and that had listened to Made Feed Repeat, like that album. I don't think they'd listened to it that much. Whereas for me, being a big Mr. Bungle fan and all of that kind of shit, loved it because it was like the goth stepsister the first Mr. Bungle album.
Oh man, as
You
far
know,
as
there
I'm
was so
concerned,
much
it was a metal
similarity.
version of Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, absolutely.
That-
And Mr.
that's-
Bungle has
like-
metal shit in it. Like,
But it was the metal. Like, don't get me wrong, Mr. Bungle was heavy, but it was still grunge.
Yes, yes.
This
If
was
that album
the-
is
it's-
everything. Yeah, yeah. I hear. You know, that's what made it really kind of tricky. It's just like, well, what the fuck do we do? So then it was like looking through all the old archive footage of Anders playing it live, and they like people don't know that they didn't play that many shows before Corey came on board. You know, I think they only played like 8 to 12 shows or something like that, and then Corey joined, and then all that happened.
Wasn't it after some battle of the bands that they hit Corey?
I think so.
Because it was Stone Sour and Slipknot were at the same. This is supposedly the folklore behind it. From what I remember in my young age of deep diving, it was they played some battle of the bands. Corey Taylor was in Stone Sour with I think Jim at the time. And then Slipknot played the same one. I can't remember who won, but at the end of that was when I think it was Sean approached Corey and asked him to join
I
the
think
band.
you're right.
Oh, that's the
I think you're
folklore.
right. Yeah, and then there is footage of Corey's first show with them as well. So it was a lot of research into looking into those to being like, how much do we make this a separate entity itself? How much justice do we want to pull, and how much influence do we want to pull from those shows, and kind of do we want to recreate it? Do we want to recreate it and buff it into something else as well? So I don't want to give too much away for the show, but at the same time, we had our first proper production rehearsal for it literally on the weekend that just went, and looking back on the footage from that, it was insane. Like, I think this album is this tour with this album in particular is really going to do it justice, but also bring it into the 21st century too. Is the best way to put it.
That gets me so excited, man. It really does. It gives me.
It didn't click until like we kind of.
That gets me so excited. That gives me such a fucking boner. I swear to God, I'm like, the excitement is so real. Oh my God!
So that was the thing when we were starting to gear up, and Mike made like these scratch tracks for us to practice to. You know, we kind of pulled from all of these independent parts. So there's me and James in Australia, and James is going to be playing bass for Anders as well, and Piston Fist. He's got 3 sets. The champion. Dude, it's fucking insane. I've got 2 playing with Anders and KAOSIS. Oh, dude, so the thing is, me and him have gotten together a couple of times to run it to make sure we're tight, because like the biggest part of that album is the tightness of the bass and the drums.
Yeah.
So we've been rehearsing that on our end. I've got another rehearsal with him, not this weekend, coming literally like 2 days before we fly out to do the tour. Got a couple of days rehearsal, and then the tour kicks off there. So that was kind of like a bit of the process with at least this tour and Anders and Waylon, because Waylon's only bringing 2 people out. We also then have to think about, we obviously bring our own production out as KAOSIS, so it's like, how do we integrate that into these 2 sets as well? You know, so there's a lot of that kind of a thinking of like, what do we do here? How do we do this? How do we make it work?
Shared resources.
Well, we're not taking 50 suitcases of fucking gear, you know, to set up for the show at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's at least been in that aspect of the tour and how it's kind of been working behind the scenes with all of it. So that's been really interesting and cool to kind of get to do that, and it was nice to finally like put the mask on that we're going to be wearing for the fuck. I don't know if I should have said that. Oops. Oh well, cat's out of the bag. Oh well.
Bro.
I mean, look, dude, if
nobody was wearing masks,
it's Slipknot. You kind of have to. It's expected.
We all fucking knew you were going to wear masks of some sort.
Well, look, there is a lot. The production value for this is definitely up to the ante, but definitely is trying to do the same thing as what they were doing. Again, it's bringing a lot of what they did into the 21st century with the resources we have available. And yeah, I think it's really going to make people go back and revisit and reappreciate that album if they haven't heard of it, or if they have, it's definitely going to make them go back and re-listen to it and go, fuck, what a banger of an album, you know? Yeah. So that's really cool about that. In the KAOSIS camp, you know, as I mentioned before, running through a lot of the shows last year, there were a lot of lists of things that needed to change, things that needed to be worked on. So we're definitely upping the ante of stage production on this tour in particular. A lot more fake fire and a lot more laser kind of shit that's going on. Things are a lot more choreographed.
Hold on. Fake fire?
Whoa.
Are you going to have
it's like ribbons and stuff with like a red and orange light under it and everything.
No, you'll see it. You'll see it.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm keen.
I'm excited. Then call me Big Kev. Like I'm ready for that.
So we're doing that and bringing out a couple of new songs as well that haven't been released, plus playing the new singles as well. You know, so it was also very, very much a cool thing to be able to release the single with Anders, bring all of that shit to light as well, which is really cool. You know, he's definitely been getting some really big things, and it's been really cool to even see like Corey Taylor tweeting about Anders coming back and doing that shit.
That is what I wanted to ask about. What did it feel like sort of in the KAOSIS camp when that came up? Because over here in our little corner of paradise in the, you know, in our southern hemisphere of the world, we don't get spoken about much. And normally when our shows do get spoken about, it's normally because bad shit happens. So to actually think that like something like this got promoted by Corey Taylor months, like at least a month or two ago.
Like when the news first broke about the whole thing, I'm pretty sure
that's how quick it was.
And that he was so supportive of the idea too. Like, I mean,
What did that feel like in the KAOSIS camp? Like, and for...
Oh, dude, we all were giggling like schoolgirls, man. You know, like the thing is like, especially in the modern media with Slipknot and Corey, it's the running joke is like, what does Corey think? You know, because like you see half of the articles that come out, it's just like, yeah, exactly. You know, so, you know, we suspected that it was kind of coming, but then to see that come as quick as it did was awesome. And to see Anders kind of get the recognition and the love that he's gotten as well was amazing. Let alone, again, like some of the bigger names that have been tweeting about this kind of shit and showing its support, you know, I'll be real, for me, I've had to kind of block some of it out because it just makes me nervous. Makes me really, really, really nervous. Well, from my perspective, I am the first person playing this shit since Joey Jordison played. You know, and probably might be the last person that's playing that.
That never crossed my mind.
Yeah, so, and like, let alone, I'm probably the last person that's going to play this thing live with Anders rather than Joey Jordison, which ties back, I think, to the first podcast we had where we were talking about filling in shoes and all that kind of shit. I'm experiencing that at the moment, you know, and seeing a lot of the media hype is as amazing as it is.
Can I?
I'm just a normal dude, and it kind of fucking freaked me out a bit at first.
Yeah, but so was Joey Jordison
so
at one stage, man. That's what you got to think, though. Joey Jordison was once a normal dude. Like Joey Jordison, the household name didn't start. He wasn't born Joey Jordison, the household name.
If I can speak, if I can speak on this from, you know, not just the perspective of a fan, but look, I know that I haven't known you all that long. You know, we've known each other, sort of been acquainted for maybe a year or so, if that, right? Like, basically, since I kind of started doing the stuff with Brad for Nuclear Vision, and so it's maybe a year, right? But from the discussions that we've had, and from what I have seen of your work, you have nothing to worry about. You absolutely have nothing to worry about.
Now.
You are. I mean, look, you're the one that they're getting out there to put on these drum clinics, right? You're the one doing this stuff. I don't think I know another drummer. And look, I played with a lot of bands, and I know a lot of amazing drummers. I don't think I know another drummer that, from this corner of the world, that I would think would be more suited to doing this. I don't think I know anyone else that would be as up to the task and up to the challenge as you are. And I
really appreciate hearing that
from the heart. I am 100% sincere with that, because, you know, you're like not only is able to do it, but is deserving of the opportunity to do it.
Oh, thank you.
The amount of passion and shit that you put into everything that you do, man, 100%. But The only thing I'm going to say about this is that none of you all need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to do the fucking thing justice. And that's got to be the main focus.
That's the pressure. That's the pressure. Is kind of like, I could get up there and do my own thing, which is, that is a thing within itself. But I also want to do this album justice, not only being a fan of him, but having Joey be as big an inspiration to myself as he has been. So I've had to... This has kind of been the weirdest set that I've had to learn. I shouldn't say weird, but it's weird in the process of how I've decided to go about it in learning this material, because I kind of want to play the way that Joey would, but my own interpretation of it. Because in particular, there's one part, if people don't know Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, like the one song I'm sure, if you do know it, everyone is keen for is Bitch Slap. Because it's
the one I'm waiting for.
It's the best shit, and like running through it in production and hearing everything with it, like all that shit. Oh man! At the very end of it, the last 30 seconds of that is just a drum solo from Joey, and I didn't want to approach it where I learned it note for note, but what I had to do was go and watch a lot of Joey and figure out how he did his fills, how he did certain things, and then try and approach it through that, rather than just doing it with the arsenal of tools that I have as a drummer. So that was a really, really interesting... That was the way I kind of felt like I had to look at it. If I'm going to do this justice, this is the way I've got to do this. And now having... And this is the scary process of it is learning it. Because, like, everyone suffers from Black Dog in some way or another. And I'm not going to lie where I said the tour announcement was awesome. It was super exciting to get to finally have the cats out of the bag. Bang, off we go. Then that died off almost immediately afterwards. And then it was the daunting task of, I have to learn this shit. Not only do I have to learn it, I have to tour it 12 out of 13 days. Right. And that became quite daunting, because it was a lot of the shit going on in my head. As I said, is like, I've got to do this justice. I'm feeling Joey's shoes. This shit hasn't been done since Joey. So, there was a lot of that kind of shit. And then it was seeing the media hype, as awesome as it was. I realized that I just had to block everything out and just focus on what was in front of me and not overthink it and not overhype myself with it, because I was equally as excited, to the point where I would overexcite myself and then I would freak myself out about it. So, now being in the position that I am now, that I'd learned the material a couple of months ago and really was tight with it, all I had to do was just be like, I need to focus on myself. When I step into that rehearsal room with Anders for the first time, I just need to be tight. I just need to know my shit inside and out, so that dude isn't going to fucking question me on this tour. Not saying he would. From what I've seen with Anders, he's a super lovely guy, but I just want him to not have me be a worry in his head on the show, and I need to also not have myself be a worry when I get in there and do that. I need to clear out all the bullshit that's in my head of overthinking and overanalyzing and over everything with that, So now that that's passed, and I've had these production rehearsals, the confidence levels are so much higher than where they were a couple of months ago with it. And because of that, it now has kind of freed me from a lot of that process and thinking going in and doing this tour, because it's going down in Slipknot lore. You know what I mean? Like, you go on the Wikipedia page now for Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, and on the Slipknot page, we're on there now. We're a part of that Slipknot lore kind of a thing. And that's a really cool thing to take to the grave, and a thing that I've kind of done that's also really helped me with this tour is I've actually been journaling about my process, learning it, actually physically putting pen to paper, writing down my thoughts, where I'm at certain parts and learning it, so that I can look back in 20 years time and reflect on this kind of thing. Because this is something I don't ever really want to forget doing this tour as well. So, but yeah, to go to the KAOSIS camp, it's been really good to refine our shows. It's been really good to be able to really put on the best show we can for this tour, because we also have a big responsibility, not only being the ones that are kind of putting on this tour, but also the ones that have to hype people up for Anders and for Mushroom Head as well. We realize that when we set foot on that stage, we have to get that crowd moving. We have to really get them in the vibes for what is to come, So that's been a lot of the process with it personally, KAOSIS wise, and production wise and all of that kind of stuff like that with it. So it's a lot to kind of speak about, but there's a lot going on with it, and that's just a broad stroke with it, you know. So
that's the thing, man. Like every band that we've been talking to that's a part of this is like, the excitement is just radiating off everybody. And from everybody that we've spoken to, everyone's trying to bring their A game. Everyone's bringing their A game for this because the people that are involved recognize what it means. They recognize what a big deal this is. They recognize how important it is in terms of the perception of Australia in the international metal scene. And they realize that it will have a lot of eyes on these shows. Not just in Australia, not just in the rooms, but all over the world.
Mate, this is... keep going, right?
The opportunity that it represents, because this is more like this on its own is extremely cool. This tour on its own is extremely cool. This is not just an Australian first, this is a global first. And the doors that it opens, like if this is successful, it opens the doors for a lot of other bands to go, maybe we can do the same thing. Maybe we can do what you guys did. And they can take that moonshot and reach out to these bands or these people and try and bring them out here.
Sorry, man, it's already fucking happening. It's already happening. I don't know who I saw today, but there was some band that hasn't been together in a long time that's regathering for an Australian tour. And I said to the guys at work, I'm going to go fucking broke this year.
Yeah, it's really coming through like this post-COVID tour thing now, where all of these bigger bands are now finally having the ability to come out.
2024 is already like February 2024 is stacked, and like
dude, between now and February, I think it's like Devin Townsend Project, Good Things, Electric Callboy, fucking Mudvayne, Coal Chamber. I'm sure there's a couple I'm missing in
there's
that.
So
as
many,
well.
there's so many lined up for that,
it's insane.
and
it's insane.
Suicidal Tendencies are coming out in November as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Like the lineups and the bands that are coming out here, and is really, really getting crazy. And like I said, I think 2024 is just going to be a whole year of craziness, because when stuff with COVID started letting up, all these bands already had plans for 2023.
Yes.
They already had plans for 2023 because they were getting back out in their local markets. They were getting back out in the US, the UK, Europe, wherever they're primarily based. They were getting out there. Now they've done that, they're looking to where else they can go. And they're going, where's as far away from our local market as we can get? Australia.
Mate, Volumes. I think Volumes, they're an American band. Absolutely amazing. They've been out here twice in the last 6 months.
And can I say too, the most excited of the bands that I have seen, I got really excited, and it's a bit of a side tangent, but I got really excited when I saw Crave got the support slot to Avatar.
How good was that?
When they came out.
Yeah,
that was just the most wholesome thing. I reached out to Seattle, and I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking happy for you guys. Like, that's the thing that it's like, I think the change that I'm seeing too is the right bands are now starting to get those support slots again.
Yeah.
And that's a really beautiful thing to see, and I really hope that comes through.
Workhorses. Sienna is a workhorse.
Oh yeah, like a lot of them, man. A lot of them, dude. I got so much respect for that band. I got so much respect for those guys.
Can I just ask, what is it with three pieces that you don't fuck with? You know what I'm talking about? Like Red B.
Oh, why other people don't fuck with three pieces?
Red B, Crave, Regular Gonzalez.
Why these bands are so good.
You just don't fuck with, no.
Because you have to be.
No, but this is what is it with three pieces that you don't mess with? Like, the healthy competition that I'll talk about, it all sort of lives among, but then there's that three piece that are just like, nah, we the three of us kick the shit out of Olio.
Yeah. And they know that they're good, so they don't get involved in any drama. Yeah, it's just what it is, because it's, but here's the thing, right? If you're going to get up there as a, in this day and age, in the days of the wall of sound production style, right? If you're going to get on stage as a 3-piece, you need to be on your shit.
100%.
You need to be on top of your game. There needs to be no flaws. There needs to be no holes, no gaps, nothing lacking. You have to bring everything, because you've only got 2 people out the front to fill the stage space. You've got musically, you're having to do, you've got more space and sonic space to fill for each member, and it takes a lot to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the, I didn't realize really until I was doing the Skunk Bone thing just how much more was required in that 3-piece situation.
Dude,
and even if you've got
even
the
Astro
difference,
Death,
even the difference
those
of
boys, they're a 2-piece.
Even the difference of
Ragdoll down
a
here in
3-piece. A 3-piece where to a 4-piece where you've just got a singer that doesn't play an instrument, that's still a different vibe and a different energy about it. And
because Sienna pretty much runs the show for the Crave shows, and then the other boys just fucking crack my shit up. They're just
and they're all out there to have a good time too. I think. And
I want the regular Gonzalez, Red Bee, and Crave Tour, and I want it to be called the 3-piece feed.
Man, okay. Let me try and reach out to the different parties.
I love it.
Hey,
make the ticket the same price.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it
as well.
happen. After what I did today, I can get it started. We can get it going.
Let's do it. Let's make it. Yes, and I agree with that. Let's make the ticket the same price as a 3-piece feed. At KFC.
We will.
Yeah, make it the
will.
same thing. Literally, get the rights to fucking put the KFC logo on there. Get them to fucking get a food truck for KFC out there as well, man.
I don't care about that, man. We'll just make we'll make all the artwork with the rip off of the KFC. We'll get the font.
I'll be the Colonel.
Kyle's face on the Colonel's thing in there. Just do that. 3-piece feed. I love that. That's great.
I love it.
And
that's
even better if you can make it a charity event raising money for a food bank or something.
We will do that.
You do some crazy shit like a tie-in like that, man.
You know what we should do? We should get KFC to donate for the food bank.
They'll do it.
We'll make the show happen, and then
everyone will shit themselves 6 hours later because of the laxative being one of the secret herbs and spices.
After the show's happening and it's already announced, then we'll start tagging KFC and all the stuff. Be like, hey, y'all should sponsor this show. You should sponsor this
one
this
show
charity.
in Queensland, one show in Sydney. I'm making it happen.
Yep.
I'm making.
And get
it
Dulex. What is it? What's the toilet paper company? Dulex or whatever it is. Get them to sponsor it too, because everyone's gonna fucking shit themselves after eating that much KFC.
Only if you're over 30.
Oh, but man, I don't know. Every time I've had KFC, my toilet bowl has gotten fucking
I'm
destroyed.
sorry. Once I turn
one
30,
way or another.
Once I turn 30, I'm like, fuck KFC.
See, the problem is you don't have it regularly.
I don't know you, good sir.
If you have it all the time,
I love KFC. That's my issue with it. When I get KFC, the next 45 minutes, especially after, Singer Box with a couple of wicked wings, it's shit show. You remember that Jackass episode when he ate that burrito?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Kyle has KFC and his asshole sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whack.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, but I love that. But yeah, I was so happy to see those, dude. That it's good to see the right local bands getting that support. That's kind of coming through, and actually getting that recognition, because it used to be
a band that when a band gets it and you're like, yeah, they deserve that.
It was like Our Last Enemy. Our Last Enemy had the Sydney show for Avatar, but unfortunately
they had to drop out.
And
but
then
yeah,
Peerfly got the spot, and good on them, because they deserve it too. They're solid.
Yeah, and I think because it used to be so different back, I don't know, even 10 years ago. And I'm not going to shit on this band by any means, but I remember there was a good period for a year and a half where Lynch Martyr got every fucking support slot in Brisbane. And then I'm not shitting on those boys. They were a fucking amazing band, and they deserved everything that they fucking got. They were amazing. But it didn't really leave much room for anybody else to kind of get support slots. You know what I mean? Like, and this is even going back where it was like them. If there was a more heavier band like Fear Factory, it was like Thy Art back in the day. Were constantly coming up and doing shit as well. Yeah, it was a different. I don't know. Maybe it just worked differently back then, but I'm really glad to kind of see that there is a shift, and it's not just the same Brisbane band or the same Sydney band getting those supports the whole time. It's a really, really nice evolution. At least I guess I can say that I've noticed anyway. I've seen in the scene.
It's good to see promoters are branching out.
Yes,
that's the big, and that's a big thing that needs to be said there, because you can never blame a band for saying yes to a support slot.
Oh, dude, no band would ever say no. You know,
no.
Yeah.
No, if they keep coming back, I'm going to
Avatar,
keep saying
no.
no.
I'm not playing for them. Fuck that.
No.
It's like no one has said that ever.
No, you should. Hey, do you want to play Fear Factory? No, you should give that to another. No.
Never happened. Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, it's
promoters
been
are starting to branch out and starting to see other people's work.
But
yeah,
again,
it's interesting.
But like, you know, Kaosis is out here proving that you don't need to rely on promoters to make these things happen.
And you know what, man? That's a big thing. If an independent does this, if what you guys have got the whole world, the whole world's eyes on you, on this show, on this show. I will bring out the very first video within 24 hours of that first Sydney show. Before your next show, there will be a video out of that first show. I will not sleep.
And dude, and I love that. I love that.
Hopefully,
dude, you know?
hopefully that can sell some tickets. Hopefully that can move some more tickets.
I'm a bit
Has there
disappointed.
been any? Okay. On the thing. Sorry, I don't mean to jump in there. But I have been thinking about this, and I wanted to ask: has there been any discussion? And feel free, if you can't talk about it, you can't talk about it. That's fine. But has there been any discussion? But I feel like if you don't talk about it, it kind of answers the question anyway. But anyway, has there been any discussion
I think I know what you're going to ask too.
about live streaming one of the shows?
Ooh.
Or recording one of the shows to put online as a thing?
I'm just going to go grab beer. This is a great convo.
I'm pretty sure. Actually, I know a lot of them are going to be filmed. As for live streaming a show, I actually am not sure. There's been talks about it. Put it this way, but as far to my knowledge, at least anyway, I'm not sure if any of them are going to be live streamed at this point. Okay. I think I know a few of them are definitely going to be getting filmed. Like I'm going to be filming the majority of them, at least for a drum cam perspective anyway. But as far as like which show it's going to be that's going to be filmed, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a couple of the Aussie ones. I can at least kind of say it's definitely going to be a couple of those at least.
Yeah, because I think that'd be super cool if you guys are able to have like, even if not the whole show, to get like a couple of songs from Waylon, a couple of songs from Anders, and be like, this is history. This has happened. It's never going to happen again. It's an incredible opportunity. You know, you can see what you can see of it. I don't know. You know, maybe if possible to put a whole. I don't know. This is just me spitballing because we know the interest that there has been globally in this event. So
it's the tour nobody knew they wanted until it got announced.
Yes.
And that's, as I said, I know there's definitely a lot of talks of doing it, and I'm sure that's something that's going to be talked about a lot the week leading up to it. As for what show it's going to be, or shows for that matter, I'm not too sure.
Look,
right
to be
now,
completely honest, if you're gonna live stream anything and it's going to be on the world stage, you got to do the ones where you have the extra support acts.
Yes, I can't confirm simply from
that would be my. That's just my opinion.
I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be. I'm pretty sure Brisbane is going to have a lot of filming going on with it. That's for sure.
Well, that's going to be the biggest one of the tour, right?
Like... I think that that I don't know, for me anyway. I'm seeing that is kind of being like the diamond creme de la creme of the tour.
If you need help on trying to do it.
We'll reach out. We'll talk. I know. Well, for me personally, out of like, I'm excited for all of these shows. Don't get me wrong, but there's probably about 4 of them that I'm really excited for. Brisbane, obviously, home show. Fucking stoked about that one. That's going to be dope. Sydney, just because it's going to be the first one,
and I'm going to be
the
there.
energy in the energy in the room that night is going to be something else, man.
You're going to probably lose the rest of your hair from stressing at that Sydney one, I think.
I don't think it'll be from stress. I think it's going to be from anticipation. You know what I mean? Because now the stress is kind of not stress. It's more anticipation of getting there and rehearsing with Anders and pulling that off.
I think once the Sydney show is underway, you're gonna be so absorbed and swept up in the just doing the shows and the tour that you're not gonna have time to think about anything else. You're not gonna have time to be stressed. You're not gonna have time to be worried about shit. Once that Sydney show starts,
enjoy the Sydney show, man.
It's gonna be 2 weeks of just literal chaos and mayhem, and 15-minute naps where you can get them, and
enjoy your first and your
and
last
carrying
show.
your shit and not knowing what city or time zone you're in. And
that's why I'm excited for that one.
You're just gonna get, and then once it's all over, like you said, once the tour's done and you can get home and you can sleep for like a week, and then wake up out of that, then you'll have time to go, okay, now we can actually think again, instead of just spending 2 weeks of just riding whatever the roller coaster is of this tour. But is that something else that you guys are thinking, like? Because I know KAOSIS has done tours before, right? But I feel like this is a bit bigger in terms of the number of shows, how close together they all are. There's, you know what I mean? Like just the bang, 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 bang nature of them all. Do you feel like this has prepared KAOSIS in general to be a tighter, more efficient touring machine after this is all over? Like the next KAOSIS tour that you guys do, gonna be like, we got this in the bag, boys. Like we just,
we aiming higher.
I think everything with us in our camp, at least anyway, our thought process is everything is a stepping stone. Like last year was just proving that we can pull these one-off shows back again with the new lineup, with the new getup, with the new production, all of that kind of stuff. These last couple of shows that I've only done the last 2, they've done 4 leading up to this tour, was then the next stepping stone of then tightening up the things that we needed to do last year and adding new things to this show. This tour is then really the next stepping stone of knowing what we're pushing to get ourselves into further. There's already talks about what the next tour is going to be at the start of next year. We're not quite sure what yet. We're kind of waiting to see after this tour so we can kind of reflect and know what worked, what didn't work. Maybe we shouldn't do 6 dates in a row.
Southeast Asia.
Oh,
It could be. There's a lot. Put it this way, there's a
big call.
There's a lot of talk. Put it that way. And it's really depending too on the success of this tour, not in ticket sale wise, but as you said, the machine of running this as a tight touring production. And I think once we've kind of done that, we'll know what worked, what didn't work, and then there's the next step for the next tour, and we move forward with all of that kind of stuff. I think is probably the best way to kind of answer that question. Let alone the thing is too is dealing with the fatigue machine. Like I've done big tours in the past, not with metal. This is probably like my biggest tour I've done as a metal drummer. Like I've done James Morrison, which was 2 months of insanity. Doing it with him, I've gone over to Switzerland and done like, I can never remember the number, but it was like 40-something shows in like 2.5 weeks. It was fucking insane. So like I've done these bigger tours before, and the thing that I can say that I think a lot of people don't think of, which you touched on before, Raph, is the fatigue machine. Especially when you think about the way we're kind of doing this, where we all fly into Sydney for a couple of days, rehearse, we do Sydney, wrap up, pack up, go back to the hotel, we get a couple of hours sleep, we then wake up early to then catch an early flight from Sydney to Adelaide, get to the venue, set up for production, do our sound checks, all of that stuff, go back to the hotel for a couple of hours, quickly nap, have a bite to eat, go play the show, and we rinse and repeat that until the Brisbane show. Then once the Brisbane show is done, we kind of have the morning off to chill, which probably everyone is just going to catch up on sleep at that point. And then we got the Gold Coast show. But to lean into what I was saying before, there's 2 other shows that I'm really excited about. Auckland is a big one, because I've never actually played Auckland with KAOSIS before. I've never played it. I fly in and out of that city all the fucking time to go over there for rehearsals and shows, but I've never actually played there before. So that's really cool to have a first on this tour. Same as Dunedin. But the one that I'm probably the most excited about, which I think a lot of the Toowoomba people know, but not so much the rest of the tour, is it's also a benefit show for a really big metalhead fan that did pass away a couple of months ago. His name is
I've seen
Mitch
a bit
Fletcher.
of stuff about this. Yeah. I saw something about it, but I'm not sure. Tell us all the details about it, man.
So I can at least talk from my experience and then how that kind of pulled Mitch into the KAOSIS fold and why the show is dedicated to Mitch. But last year I started putting on a lot of my own shows and all of that, and I put it on a show in Toowoomba, and I had no idea how it was going to go. I didn't know if there was going to be a scene there or not. Next minute, fucking 150 people came out of the fucking woodworks, and it was a great show, great vibes, great people. But there was one dude that was in a wheelchair. His name was Mitch, and everyone was blown away because that dude was literally in the mosh pit pulling doughies, fucking circle pitting in a fucking wheelchair, and everyone was just like, "Who the fuck is this king?" Like, Jesus Christ. After the show, I had a chat with him, and I'm like, "Dude, it's so awesome to see you here. Like, thank you so much for coming." And he wanted to buy me a beer, and I said no, and then he called me a fucking pussy, which I was just kind of like, well, I guess I have to have a beer from you now, bro. But he was like one of the nicest dudes, like so not taken in by his condition by any means, and such a lovely guy. A couple of months later, we put on the Metal Mayhem Festival in Toowoomba again, which had U-Boys, which had Nuclear Vision, and a few others, and he rocks up again. Had another awesome chat with him. Super lovely guy. And the more I talked to the locals, I didn't realize how much he's probably like, in every city there's like that one dude that goes to like every show. He's always there, just the biggest fucking supporter of the scene. That was Mitch. And unfortunately he did pass away a couple of months ago, which was really, really, really sad news to hear. And the fact that he kind of touched myself as much as he did Joel, like all of that kind of stuff, we decided to reach out to his family. We reached out to Anders and Waylon, and we said, look, he's a fan of your respective bands. He's a big supporter of the scene. He's passed away. We would love to dedicate the show to him and have all of the profits and proceeds go to his family for the show. And everyone was super down for that. So that show is being a big dedication ceremony / show to Mitch. Because he was the dude that fucking deserved it, man. Like, I know one of the bands that's playing Toowoomba this time around, which is Sang Freud, also played it the last time, and Croggy is a fucking local legend of that scene. He's like one of the fucking funniest dudes and one of the best guys. I was talking with him, and we were devastated. Like, fuck, there goes one of the good ones, man. So I'm really excited for that show, to get to meet his family a bit more, catch up with his carers again, and just get to do something special for someone that fucking deserved it. So that's the one that's also got me really, really, really excited on this tour for him. And it's been great to see the press and people jumping behind it and showing their support for him. It just is testament to the kind of dude that he was. So, and I didn't know him that well, but I did know him through shows, and every time I talked to him, he would always put shit into perspective, man. Super loving, caring guy, and one of the gnarliest dudes in the mosh pit. So, fuck yeah, rest in peace, Mitch, man. This one goes to you, bro.
We love that shit.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing when you can make an impact on someone that loves your music so much, but then their life can impact you even more than what you can present out there. Like, you're out there to impact people's lives, but there's something special when someone from the crowd, and especially with what was going on with him and his disability and stuff like that, to impact you so much, that speaks volumes.
And he did that with a lot of people, man. Like, I know he did that with Brad. They had a big ass D&M chat at some point. He did with Joel as well. Myself, like, he was just one of those dudes, and it's just like Yeah, it's just sad when you see those people go, man. But at the same time, it's just like there's no reason why we still can't do something for him.
No, man.
You know,
because
it's not like that's the end for him. You know,
No.
yeah, damn straight. And every time we go back to Toowoomba and play, we'll be fucking remembering that cunt. That's for sure. Because
Hey,
fuck, he was a good one, man.
Did you ever see
know?
The Sandlot Kids? You ever?
No.
Okay. There was this old quote from that movie. It's like, "Heroes last for what is it? Heroes last forever, but legends never die."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that and
Hands
that's-
down.
Yeah, and like just sounds like a complete legend. Like his name will be remembered in the scene for as long as people will talk about him as a legend. That he
Damn
was.
straight, dude. You know, and it's like, look, we've lost a couple of good people over the years, since the last couple of shows with Kaosis. You know, like we lost Adam Kane, who was an OG founding member of Nuclear Man, and that happened 2 days after fucking Kaiju Fest, man. You know, and that was heartbreaking as fuck to have that dude. And there's been a couple others, man, and it fucking sucks, dude. But again, it's like you show support. Like the thing is, like, they might die in the flesh and bone and the physical, but people still exist, like, here and here.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, with that kind of shit, you know. And it's like that's how they live on. It's just like this shit is meaningless at the end of the day, dude.
Yeah, man.
You know, and you know, I think Tesla said it best, where it's just like you can't destroy energy. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the impact that these people have. Is that they imprinted onto you, and you get to pass it on through yourself, man. You know,
man.
and it's a very beautiful thing that we get to do in this life, man. So I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to get to do that for such a good dude. You know,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned Adam there. I know that I know, like, every show that we've played since then, you know, I know that Brad's, you know, doing it, like, Brad's, you know, doing it in tribute to Adam through a large
Damn
part of
straight.
his performance is coming from that place. And, you know, you're right. I mean, these people, as long as we continue to carry their you know, their memory, and you know, if we can in some way continue to bring some of the light that they did to the world and carry that on through whatever we're doing, then, you know, hopefully that has just a positive impact across the board.
Damn straight, dude.
I've always maintained that, like, you know, I knew my music was never going to change the world, but if the music that I'm doing, if the performances that I'm doing and the stuff that I'm involved with can change one person's world, then it's worthwhile.
Your job's done.
And you want to know this.
I know that sounds cheesy as fuck,
But
It's
here's
not.
the spin.
the truth.
Here's the
It
spin
is,
to that,
man.
though, dude. Here's the spin to that, man. Is the thing is like that one person can also be allowed to be yourself at the end of the day with it. You know what I mean? Because it's like every like you can't say you're the same muso you were 10 years ago. And I'm sure every person that's played shows, whether they be local, big, international, whatever, sometimes, yeah, you're not going to have anybody at your shows that fucking like you. Jesus Christ, I played one with Symbolic Weapon a few years back, and it was at a fucking dingy pub, and literally it was on the same night. I think it was like Tonga versus Samoa, and nobody was there for the show, man. Everyone was there to watch that. We played 2 songs, and they yelled at us to shut the fuck up while the footy was going on.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
You know? And I the reason I bring it up is because it's like, even if it changes for one person, that person can also be yourself. You know, and it makes you kind of realize that it's just like, it puts shit into perspective, that sometimes you're going to play a show and no one gives a fuck. But that thing can still change you and change your perspective and move forward with that shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, as much as we try and do this to influence other people, in turn, we don't realize that the biggest person that it influences is ourselves. Like, I'm sure each one of us right now could rattle off at least 2 or 3 shows that were life-changing for us.
Oh,
for
yeah.
whatever the reason
That
is,
will-
that
that
has
will we-
framed
that
us to
will we
become the
play-
musos that we are now.
That what we played ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wollongong with Red Sea or Domino when they were known that we played. That was when we played Mike Hurst, and next thing you know, everyone's just hopped up on the stage and gone fucking bonkers and on the stage with us. It was fucking mental. That was a life
But
changer.
why? Okay, so my question, why? But why was that life changing for you?
I never ever thought that anything, because it was the first time we'd ever played a cover in our set, and we thought we'd just give it a splash, you know. And when we done it, people went fucking nuts.
The connection with the crowd.
The next one was literally the start to finish was the show that Raph organised that I played with him at the Heavy Metal United.
The Heavy Metal United show in
Yeah.
2015, yeah.
Mate, that like, mate, after that I was like, I can die happy. Like, play to a full fucking room at the Crowbar. Full fucking room at the Crowbar. We had people up on stage. We grabbed random people up from the fucking crowd, playing songs with us, with a couple of the covers that we done. It was fucking mental. Like, and
Well, yeah, and that was the point of that show. The point of that show was take, you know,
even the
do
original
the
that
covers,
we did. Like,
do the covers that you've always wanted to do and that your band could never make happen. Like, because you wanted to play it, but no one else in the band did, or half the band wanted to and half the band didn't, or you all wanted to do it, but you realize it didn't really fit with everything. You know, just all the covers you've always wanted to do.
But see, the life-changing part for that for me was getting done. You calling me up, giving me 2 or 3 weeks notice for that thing.
Something like that, yeah.
I managed out the whole set. We put on a cracking show, but the absolute faith that 4 random people had in me, seeing me with the band that I was in, it just completely changed my perspective on music and working with other people.
But you know what's really crazy to me is I've only been like recognized one time. Like, where someone's gone, "Hey, I knew that guy that does," you know what I mean? And I was the thing I got recognized for was, "Hey, aren't you that guy that organized that Heavy Metal United show?" That's the thing. Not like, "Oh, aren't you that guy in Tensions Arise? Aren't you that guy from Acid Nymph? Aren't you that guy from Skunk Bone?" Like, none of that.
How weird.
It was like, "Hey, aren't you that guy that organized that Heavy Metal United show?"
Yeah, man.
And I was like, "Yes, that was me." And the dude was like, "Dude, that was fucking amazing. Thank you so much. That was such a good thing." And I'm like, there you go. Like, if that's, you know, or like Skunk Bone playing one of these fucking Schema Collective shows, and it's all ages because it's at a fucking skate park, and you know, we're talking to the people running it. We're talking to like Jesse or what, some of the guys running from Schema Collective running the thing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that group of kids over there they're saying that after today they want to start a band now because they've seen all the cool bands playing here today and they want to do." I'm like, cool, like I'm done.
I could tell you some of the coolest ones I've seen are the ones that I haven't even played, which has been cool. There was one for Strange Fiction for those dudes, and it was just happened that they happened to be on a bill that I went to, and honestly I can't even remember what the show was. I think it was at Vinny's, I think it was, or something like that, and I saw them play. They were fucking dope. They were a great band. Then it was afterwards, hanging around, you're chatting shit, and then this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Holy shit, CJ," and I'm like, "Holy fuck, Miguel." Former student from like fucking 13, 14 years ago that I taught when he was like 10 to 13 years old or whatever it was.
Wow, man.
All of a sudden is like on stage kicking ass as a fucking great metal drummer. And I'm just like, holy shit, look at you go, motherfucker. You know, and it was the same for like another ex-student of mine. It was just like going and seeing him play in a fucking show, and he played the hi-fi before I did, the little shit. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck you motherfucker. But good on you. Like, fucking great. Like, there's a lot of little things like that that are more impactful for me that have kind of been really changing, because it's like, you don't know. Like, the thing is, like, because sometimes I feel like we look so close to the future, because it's so hard to predict what's going to happen in like 10, 15 years time. You don't know who you've touched. You don't know who you've influenced in some way or another that you're going to bump into in another 10, 15 years time, which is why I always make sure whenever I talk to anyone, it's always with love, respect, happiness, have a fucking joke with them, because I don't know if I'm ever going to see this person again in the future, or if I do, what the circumstances are going to be. You just don't know.
I love that
and that's the
shit.
shit I love about that, man.
Bro,
it was so cool, man.
You know what's so funny? Do you know what I actually say to my kids every fucking morning on the phone? It actually pains my daughter when I say it now. I go, what are you gonna do today, guys? I go, you're gonna bring lots of love and happiness into the world.
Damn straight.
That's
Damn
all I
fucking straight.
say to them every morning. And my daughter goes, "Oh, Dad, you're saying it again." I go, "Yeah, because there are too many shitty people in this world." I don't say that to them. I go, "There's too many naughty people in the world. You need to bring lots of love and happiness into everything that you do."
Damn straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn straight. So, and that's the thing is, like, with this tour, who the fuck knows what's going to happen, man, in 10, 15 years' time, where you could bump
I
into
genuinely
someone.
do. Like, I think it's going to be life change. I think genuinely, this tour is going to be life changing, not only for you guys that are doing that are involved in the thing and have organized it, but there is going. I guarantee there will be people at least a couple of these shows for whom this show is life changing and possibly even life saving.
Yep.
Because an event like this is important, and I genuinely feel like, look, I'm not some fucking hippy dippy motherfucker that's like, oh, the universe thing, but this is an instance where I'm like, I
think the word you're looking for is honky.
I genuinely
wow.
think a lot
my
of people,
favorite word.
a lot of things have aligned in just the right way to make to bring this tour to fruition. You know, if COVID doesn't happen, does this happen? And I'm not saying COVID was worth it because of this, but I'm just sort of putting like, if COVID doesn't happen, does this happen? You know, if
Big time.
you know, if like certain connections haven't been made, this tour doesn't happen. If certain, you know, it's the chaos theory of like, you know, a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, leads to a cyclone on the other. It's just so many things had to happen just so to bring this tour into being. And
it's the thing is,
not
you
to
never
say it was an
know
accident.
how things are gonna. You never know how things are gonna fucking play out, man. Because I
Exactly.
mean, like, fuck, if you were to tell me when I was a kid, when I was listening to Slipknot and hiding it from my parents for fucking years, you know, if you would have told me that I would be playing this album from top to tail on this tour, I would have laughed in your face, like, and just been like, "There's no way."
Bro, dreams are getting made on this
myself would be doing that.
Well,
oh,
if-
dude,
yeah,
for me, this is a huge thing.
I
This is
know,
me also
I
getting to
know,
pay
like,
respects to one of my idols, man. It's like, wow.
Mate,
you know, and again, that's the shit that I've had to think about it afterwards.
Here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing. If after this tour, right, if I had $1 for each of the different Mushroom Head singers that I'd supported on a tour, I'd have $2, which isn't a lot.
No.
But it's weird that it's happened twice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that if you told me, like, same deal, right? Like, if you told me 20 fucking years ago, when I was like on LimeWire, giving my computer aids, trying to find more Slipknot stuff, and I came across this track Slipknot from Mate Feed Kill Repeat, and was like, you know, okay, well, it says it's Slipknot, and it sounds like a different version of a Slipknot song, so I guess it must be Slipknot. If you were to say to that kid, yeah, in 20 years' time you'll be part of a tour for that, I would have been like, whose dick did I have to suck to make that happen? Like, you know what I mean?
Look, but here's the other thing too. I can say with this, without this doesn't give anything away, but this album is being played in its entirety. There's no part of this album that is getting missed. There's no part of this album that is getting half-assed or is being cut in a certain way. That whole album is being done from top to motherfucking tail. From the very start, that creepy-ass fucking intro, to the fucking ending of Killers at Quiet, where it's just that drony shit at the end. That whole album is getting done from top to tail. There is no part of this shit that is getting missed in any way, shape, or form. So, but I know, Carl, you had a question. You had a big thing that you were excited to ask before.
Firstly, how are the ticket sales of Sydney going? Do you know how the ticket sales are going?
I actually don't. Okay. So this is the thing is I actually don't have, I'm not the one that's in charge of like the booking the venues and all of that. when it came to this tour, initially I was going to be playing percussion for KAOSIS and drums for Anders, simply because of Mr. Fatigue and doing this for as long as possible. You know, for that tour, Joel and myself were kind of concerned of me doing a double set for KAOSIS and that. So I was happy to take back the reins of doing percussion for KAOSIS. They bring in another dude. That didn't really end up working out to be a feasible thing. Just trying to train up another dude in time to get comfy enough with the KAOSIS stuff, because that stuff is a fucking tricky thing within its own. So, yeah, to kind of answer that, I can't remember what the question was.
How's the ticket sales going? You were saying that you
How are the
really
ticket sales going?
Yeah.
I'm not really involved with it. Like, I do check in with Joel. He says ticket sales are very high. A lot of these shows are very close to selling out.
Oh, good. That's all I want to know.
That's
because
all,
I want to
that's all I know.
Because
if you haven't got your tickets,
you only got
fucking get them.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? You don't have long.
Seriously, we are lit
Less
tonight.
than 2
This
weeks
is
until
great.
Sydney. Fucking.
I
Go
know
and
there are
buy
a
'em.
lot of people that are just waiting to get their tickets on the door. I
Yeah,
know that
okay,
for
okay.
quite a few
Don't
people,
wait.
but at the same time,
Don't wait.
I know,
If it sells
why?
out, you'll miss out.
Yeah.
it's again, this is now the post-COVID age, man. People don't want to buy tickets. and
No,
not be able
dude,
to
you
go.
know what I do now? I just pay the
I think
extra.
there will be a late rush.
I
I
just
think there will be a late
pay
rush.
the extra $15 to get the COVID cover.
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
get your
and that's
tickets,
literally what it
and
is.
man, that's all I do because you know what? At least because I've got kids, the kids could get sick.
Yeah.
That's not happening on this show. I'm fucking.
I mean,
mate.
look, I genuinely think though, like, this is. You're right. I think a lot of people are kind of waiting. It's the post-COVID world. Not as many people buy pre-sales these days. Are a bit slower to get them. I would not be surprised if in the last few days before each show,
Yeah, they all
there is
sell
a
out.
big rush. There is a big
Dude,
rush.
it
we'll-
happens in every show.
We'll be
As a
doing,
dude that's been
doing
on
the
the
promo for it beforehand. My big
Absolutely.
my big thing is here, and it wasn't really a question; it was more of a statement. Is that it's more
Sorry, guys. I'll be back in a sec.
at the moment.
You're good.
We've got all eyes on Anders and Wayland coming out to Australia and doing
Yes.
this. Realistically, that is the case. What I think I'm hoping to achieve on that first night is to really promote the rest of the bands plus them, but with having basically all eyes on the Australian market at the moment, independent band, you've got a stacked, like, dude, the Sydney show
It's
is
stacked, man.
like, it's stacked. Your Sydney show is stacked. My only complaint is there's no probably Sydney bands on the Sydney show.
Yes.
That's
and that,
probably
and
my
that I know I
only
can.
but that
speak about.
logistically, it's probably a shit show because you've got time limits. It's a Wednesday night. Logistically, it's fucked. Completely understand.
That's the only problem.
Yeah,
because we
completely
were
understand.
initially looking at doing it where we had a band from each city, like you would normally do.
Yeah,
on a
you just
tour
at least
thing.
get one.
And then when we looked at it with the other two bands, let alone us, let alone Anders, let alone fucking Wayland, looking at all of that, we're just like, dude, the show would have to start, I think, at like fucking 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
if we did that, and if you did that on a Wednesday, no cunt's gonna be there, and we didn't want
Exactly.
to.
And it was
shit
hard
on
enough.
the
And it was
local
hard
bands
enough,
that
like,
do
because
that.
when you pick the
Yeah.
Wednesday night, completely understand.
And this is another thing I'll comment on too. And this is the other tricky thing about touring Australia, which is why I think a lot of bands just do the East Coast. They'll hit the fucking Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, off you go. Is because Australia is a fucking hard tour to country, man. Like a hard country to tour. Sorry, dyslexia. Big time. I'm highly dyslexic.
No, same. I feel you. I understood everything you said.
Yeah, people understand. But it's the thing for us is we were kind of going, we need to hit it on a 6-day period. When's the best day to start? When's the best day to end it? And then we do it all again in New Zealand, you know. And it makes it tricky because we would have loved to have taken this to Perth. We would have loved to have taken this to Canberra. But it's like putting on a fucking show like this on a Monday or a Tuesday night, which we're doing in Toowoomba. And the only reason we're doing it in Toowoomba on a Monday night is because we know there's a good turnout there. And it's not saying we didn't know if there would be for Canberra or anything like that. Also, we wanted to do it for Mitch. Is another big thing as well, which is why we're doing this on a Monday night. But it becomes so tricky to tour this shit because, you know, you look at a lot of bands overseas when you do America and they've got those stacked like fucking 30, 40 dates kind of things. And it's a lot easier to do because you don't have to drive 12 hours between fucking shows.
Yeah, they're only going a couple of hours to the next city.
Exactly.
I have this
so
really
it makes
bad
it a lot
habit
logistically
when I
easier
go to
do
airports. Whenever I'm flying or I go to an airport, I always see a band rig. I can spot it from a fucking mile away. And I sit there and I look at the thing and I go, fuck, that'd cost like I pay for my bags to go on and that costs a bit. You got to tour with that shit and you got to fight, bruh. That's gonna,
Opera, man.
Even if you
Opera's
get the
only way you can do it.
Even if you get the extra luggage allowance, some of that stuff's really taking the piss.
I'll say 60% of the bands that I've seen at airports have been internationals. And it's when you see it's like a truck pulls up and you just see the luggage behind it. And you're like, mate, and with the how is KAOSIS going about? Are you guys hiring a lot of stuff in each city, or are you guys?
We're bringing all of our own shit. All of our own shit. Yeah. The only thing is, I think the acoustic kits for this tour, we're going to be supplying different ones in each city. Some of them, like, for example, there's a venue in Queenstown, the Yonder Bar. Fucking great place to play. We played there last year, and it's probably been my favorite show I've ever played with KAOSIS. Fucking great place, because you literally, you wouldn't expect it. It's a fucking tiny place. There's no green room. The stage is like half the size of fucking Vinny's, which if people know is already fucking tiny enough as is. It's fucking tiny. Crams 200 people into that fucking venue. You go right out the front when it's not nighttime, and you look down the end of the street. There's your fucking snowy mountains all around you. There's your fucking lake that's in front of you, and your fucking like postcard fucking sunset. And this is the funny thing about this show, because Queenstown is a big tourist destination. It also means there's a lot of fucking party drugs that going on for people, right? So
they're gonna love that new Slipknot set.
Oh, dude!
They're gonna love that.
Also, learning from talking to a lot of people after the show, the ones that weren't so cooked, was that it's predominantly like a DJ EDM kind of city. So when genres that aren't that come in, people flock to it. So the funny thing is at the time too, we used to run a Prodigy tribute set as well that we would do.
Yeah.
So what was really funny is there were like a couple of tributes that played before us. We went in, we played, and what was funny is just before we went on, you could see a bunch of people disappeared, came back. By the end of our set, you could start to see like the pupils dilating. People starting to sweat a little bit, and I'm like, oh god.
And seeing your set, like,
that would have been crazy.
Yeah. So then you add that, and then there's the Prodigy set straight after it. By the end of it, there are cunts that are just chewing the side of their face off, man, drenched in sweat. And Queenstown is fucking freezing, and these people are walking outside with like fucking singlets and stubbies and shit, just sweating their ass off, just like,
kids. I'm gonna look personally.
Drugs, children.
Give them to me, and I'll do them for you. Send them to me, and I'll do them for you. I'll give you a PO box. That is the best shit.
Yeah, send Kyle all of your drugs. He will dispose of them responsibly.
I will sort them out for you. Shit, you know what? That was the best part about being in the snow. I went to the snow one year, and a couple of wingdings, and yeah, you don't feel the cold. What cold? Not cold.
And that was the funny shit, was just seeing over the course of like an hour and a half of just seeing the crowd go from being semi-tipsy to just chewing their face off, fucked by the end of the Prodigy shit. And it was just like afterwards, what was really, really, really funny was there was a group of chicks that were at the front that were dancing, and they came up because we were waiting for the show to be over so that we could pull our shit off the stage and then we could fucking go back to our ACOM. And
bless you.
One of them came up and talked to me, and my god, so fucked. Like, I've been there before in the past. I'm not gonna claim that I'm squeaky clean fucking CJ. I've been there, and just fucking talking my fucking face off, and is like coming up trying to cuddle me because I had fucking dreadlocks, and I'm like, get the hello, I'll be nice to you, but please don't touch me.
Yep.
You know, blah 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 blah.
All you're gonna do
So then
is rub my dreadlocks for the next 45 minutes. It's not gonna be comfortable for anyone.
Yeah, oh man, but look, that show was just so, it was something else, because it's like, it's that surrealism where I'd played a lot of shows with KAOSIS over in NZ at that point, but that was the one where it kind of really clicked for me, where it's like, I'm in a completely different country. This is like international shit that I'm doing here, and I'm so far removed from anywhere that I've ever played a show. To be doing this here was fucking amazing. So that was definitely one where it kind of, just the surrealism of it kind of like really sit in for me, which was really cool. But yeah, I think this tour is going to be really special, which is why I've also been like writing everything down. I'll be bringing a journal with me, be spending half an hour before I go to bed every night just like writing everything down, just because it's not something I want to forget.
I want to, you know what? You should release it as a book.
I've thought about it, because like, look, there's a lot of shit in there of the things that can't be brought to light in a lot of ways, you know. But I feel like in 20, 30 years time, it's not going to make a difference if I do, you know.
You know what the cool thing would be? It'd be the thought of, it should be called Filling the Shoes of Joey.
I've got, there's the thing is, when I put it
filling the shoes, but reliving that era. Do you know what I mean? Because when you brought it up, and it's just hit me so hard as soon as you said it, the whole Joey Jordison thing, and it's
huge.
It is. One thing I am going to say though, that is huge. I'm so happy, and I cannot wait to see what you do with it. I'm like, you're going to kill it, bro. You're going to fucking smash it. You're going to be fine. Once you get that first Sydney show out of the way, and then I'll just me and my dad blow so much steam up your ass, because you're just going to be hectic. You're going to fucking feel great. You're going to feel
like I said, man. Like I said, I can't think of anyone who
deserves
could do
it.
Anyone who could do it better and is more deserving. I have so much faith in you. You are going to do such an amazing job. I am no doubt that Anders is going to be blown away by what you are bringing to this.
Well, here's another cool thing: is I'm his first point of contact in Australia.
Good,
because the rest of the lads fly in later on the first day we fly in, which I don't want to disclose in case they're like fucking crazy people that rock up to the airport.
Of course,
we'll talk about that after.
I'm his first point of contact, and I had to run this by Joel because I really wanted to fuck with Anders. Just for a second, like just to rock up, and I just wanted to have like a Slipknot get up on, corpse paint with tape on my face is like the Anders thing, and just rock up and be like, oh my god, you're Anders Kofsefny, and just like fucking like punk him. You know what I mean? As like a hardcore fucking fanboy, and just absolutely fuck with him. I told Joel that, and he was like, don't you fucking dare do that. I'm like, okay,
hey, CJ, guess who's in Sydney that can maybe do that for you?
I don't want to get in trouble, man, but fuck.
Hey, I got no skin in the game. I can get in as much trouble as I want.
No. But dude, like, I mean, I'm, you know that I'm a massive, obviously big Slipknot fan, like huge influence on sort of a lot of what I try and bring to a performance is comes from stuff from Paul. And like I'm breaking out the Paul Gray bass. I'm breaking out the Paul Gray custom.
I remember you saying
for this for these shows, and it's like since I got that bass fixed up from all the damage that I'd done to it in the past, I was like, I'm never playing it again. It's like it's a display piece. That's all it is. But when this opportunity came along, I'm like, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to.
Which I will say too, fucking James that's learning all these bass parts. My God, is he fucking nailing it? Like,
yeah, we spoke to the guys in Fist about that, and they were saying he's going crazy having to learn this stuff.
And the thing is, dude, it's like, out of that album, for people that know, like the standout instrument of that album is the bass guitar.
Without a doubt.
Which is such a weird thing. But like, without a doubt, that is the fucking standout thing.
And if you haven't heard, like, if you've never listened to Mate Feed Kill Repeat, go and listen to it and think about everything that Paul did in main Slipknot, right? Versus what you hear on that album. When you know what he was truly capable of, you're almost looking at it going, okay, he really had to rein it in for main Slipknot, for like proper Slipknot. He reined in what he could do.
Back, man.
They pulled back on those reins, man, and they kept a tight leash on his stuff. Not necessarily to the detriment. I'm not saying that as a critique or a criticism of it. You know, he obviously did what fit with the band. Like,
it's a byproduct of what happened once they got signed and
what he was capable of, man. Holy shit! And like,
it's the real interesting part, as we've talked about it before. What's going to happen now with Slipknot, now that they aren't doing the Roadrunner thing anymore, now that they aren't signed to a label, they've done basically what Metallica are doing now. They'll be going independent. And will that concept
you know what
come
I hate to say? I don't think they'll ever release it, and you know what, I hate to say it too. I think next year will be the last year for Slipknot, man.
Ooh.
Like,
I think they're wrapping it up.
Fuck yeah, dude! Just for the fact of like, you're starting to see the signs of it now. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what happened with Craig when he left. Clown pulling out due to personal reasons.
And we all know
Corey going.
They've been running for a long time. Like
Corey coming out with a recent interview being like, dude, my body is just not capable of doing this shit anymore. I don't know if you're going to see, like, you might see another Stone Sour thing or two. I don't know. I don't really think you're going to see any Stone Sour. Or if you do, it's not going to be anything.
Stuff?
I really think so, dude. And I think what they are doing is they are setting up. I think what they've. And I don't even know if it's necessarily going to be next year, but what I can see is in the next couple of years, they're setting up Knotfest in every region of the world that they can do. They've already got America. They've got Mexico. They've now got Australia. They've got Japan. I think it's just a matter of them bringing Knotfest over to Europe. Maybe not necessarily the entirety of Europe. Maybe just the UK potentially. And then I think that's it. It's the same as Ozfest, you know. And I just kind of see it going that way because they don't have many years left in them physically to be able to put on the show. You know, like Corey, even like, look, I didn't see them at Knotfest. I didn't go to Knotfest, but I watched some shit, and you see their shows now. And it's not saying it's a bad thing by any means, but it is just not what it used to be even 5 years ago. Nah. You know, and it's just like, I think, especially that creepy weird video that they put out of them as fucking dolls and their fucking heads blowing up or whatever it is, like, that's their cryptic ways of kind of going into, this is going to be done soon. You know, and realistically, the only other thing I can see them doing is what Kiss were planning on doing for a while, is having members replaced, and eventually Corey stepping down and his son or someone else taking the reins to kind of go and do that. So I hate to cut that short, but I really need to go and take a piss. Give me 2 seconds, boys. Sorry.
Of course.
And we'll
see you back in a second.
We'll talk about what's in my hot little hands.
Yeah, man. What do you got there?
What have I got there?
What have you got there?
I got a 5-string bass.
Ooh, yeah. Is that's new?
No. So Mr. Timmy Randall has moved.
Yeah.
He's moved up to the coast. Oh. And he
is that one of Tim's?
Yeah, man. He gave me the K5 ripoff.
Oh, very nice.
Dude. Oh.
You having fun with it?
I only got it back yesterday. So I haven't had a chance. But, dude, the thing...
Nice, man.
So, I'm going to be... Yeah. So Timmy's like, it's set up like a K5. I'm like, because he goes, he kept his K5 and I think he kept his 6-string, and maybe one other one. And he's like, dude, just take it. I'm like, dude, I can't take it. It's like your first bass. Like, please take it. So now
that's pretty cool, man.
I'm gonna be, yeah.
So that's very cool.
I'm actually gonna hang it up right now while we're on stream.
Awesome.
I'm gonna take fucking.
Well, while he's hanging that up, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just give a quick run through for anyone who maybe hasn't seen it all just yet. But I'll give you the rundown of the dates and cities for Nu Metal Mayhem. So, as we've mentioned, it's kicking off on the 11th of October in Sydney. I'm doing a rundown of the Nu Metal Mayhem.
Oh yeah,
date.
do it.
Doing a rundown for the people while we're going through that.
Do it.
Because if you've missed all of our several weeks and a couple of months of talking about all this,
pumping this shit.
This is going crazy. So yeah, 11th of October in Crowbar, in Sydney is where it kicks off. That's less than 2 weeks away.
You'll see me there. Get in the video.
Your fucking tickets. Get your fucking tickets. Get them now. Get them now, because you will miss out if you don't. But there is guaranteed there is going to be a rush, because that's just how this shit goes now.
Yep.
Get your tickets while you still can, because if you don't, you are going to miss out. Okay? We want these to sell out. You need to, because again, it's going to be an incredible opportunity to see something that you are never going to get to see again.
Yeah. You're not meant to see it. We're not meant to see these things.
This was resigned to history.
Yeah.
Made Feed Kill Repeat was something that was relegated to the history of Slipknot as a niche thing that hardcore fans could seek out, and now we're getting an opportunity for it to breathe life once more.
When I was like 16 or 17, it would have been like, geez, I wish I could have seen them played Make, Feed, Kill, Repeat live.
Yeah.
37-year-old me gets to fucking see it.
Yes. Now we're getting it. So yeah, 11th of October at Crowbar in Sydney, 12th of October in Adelaide, 13th of October in Melbourne. Then we got 14th of October in Brisbane at Mansfield Tavern. That is going to be a massive, massive show.
Please get out to that one. It's a tribute show. It's a charity show.
No, that's the 16th. That's
16th.
It's a couple of shows times. Sorry, but 15th at the Gold Coast, the 16th in Toowoomba. That's the tribute show. That's the dedication show. That's the charity, the show where the proceeds are going to old mate's family there. Then the boys have a day off. And then they head over the pond to Aotearoa, and we're going to be having the 18th in Auckland, the 19th in Taranaki, the 20th in Wellington, the 21st in Christchurch, the 22nd in Queenstown, and wrapping it all up on the 23rd in Dunedin for a hell of a run.
What are the chances of us getting you back on not long after the show?
Yeah, well,
we want to try get it. We want to try.
What we want to do. What we'd like to do is get one person each from KAOSIS, Piston Fist, and Sin Soto to come on for a group thing, like a debrief after it's all finished up. You know, it doesn't have to be immediately after, but hopefully in the week or two after it's all said and done, we can get you guys back on and just talk about the experience as a whole.
I'd love that, man. Because let me get my calendar up because I can't speak for the other boys.
They'll jump on. They love us.
We finish. I think we fly back on the 24th. I think it is, or the 25th. We fly back. I would be so down. As much as I'd be dead to this world, I'd rather do it while it's fresh in my brain.
That's
like, even if the others want to do a debrief on another thing.
That's what
get me on the 26th, and I would love to come back and debrief about it.
We'll make that happen.
We'll talk to some of the other guys. I mean, basically,
I don't know how the fuck they're gonna feel, but I know as fucking exhausted as I'm gonna be, I would absolutely love to do.
I think while it's fresh, it's definitely gonna be, I think, the way to go about it.
And if we can, if we can get one of you on straight after, we'll take it.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, dude, fucking, as I said, sign me up. I'll put it in my calendar now.
Yeah. So basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to tee up some other stuff for how this is all gonna go, but. We're hoping next week, we're not going to say anything just yet, hoping to get a special guest for next week for everybody for the 12th. So the 12th is going to be the second night of the tour. So you guys are all going to be busy. You guys are going to be off in Adelaide playing the show. But as Kyle said, Kyle's going to hopefully try and get some video ready.
No. Not hopefully. Do or do not.
Video ready.
There will be no try.
Kyle's going to aiming to have some video ready. Coming out of that one, but what we're going to do is
for that second show,
12th, we are going to have Kyle talking all about the show. We're going to play some clips that Kyle takes during the show for all the different bands that are playing on it.
I'm going to try get some interviews.
If you can get some interviews in, we're going to play those up. But something I'm really keen for. Something I'm really keen for on the 12th that I'm going to tell everyone right now that we're going to be doing is. I've been doing a little bit of sleuthing into pre-Slipknot bands of all the people that were involved with Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat.
Ooh,
I've been doing some digging into the pre-Slipknot Des Moines, Iowa metal scene, and we're gonna do a little bit of a timeline.
Ooh.
We're gonna do a little bit of a timeline, a little bit of a history lesson.
So I'm gonna learn
on
some
how
shit.
all the people were in the orbit of everybody else
So I'm gonna learn
before
some
it all
shit.
came together, including some music that was released by some of these bands that has managed to make its way out onto the internet. So that's going to be a little very interesting. Yeah, we're going to be putting some of that out onto the thing. We'll be playing some of the videos out there for you guys. But that's the plan. We're going to be trying to get some of that stuff out so that you guys can see and hear, how this came to be, how these guys met each other, how they came into each other's orbits. Sorry for knocking the microphone there. How it kind of came together to form what Slipknot would become. So that is what we have in store for you for the 12th. A little bit of history lesson and a little bit of a
I had no idea about this, and I'm so pleased.
So that's we're really excited for that one. We're really excited to get that stuff out for you guys. This has been delving into like Wikipedia stuff and Slipknot fan pages and interviews and little bits here and there to try and get a sense of what was going on. So that covers about from like 91, I think, is the earliest it goes. Some of these connections go back to like 91, and then it builds through up to like 97 when Mate Feed Kill Repeat came out, and then Corey kind of came in shortly after that, and then things went out. So we're not really touching on the Corey era. The whole purpose of this is to focus on everything up to
that point
in Slipknot. So that's what we got lined up.
So you could essentially say we're going to do the Anders arc.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This will be the phase. This will be the Slipknot cinematic universe phase 1 wrap up video. I guess.
And the Anderspedia.
I'm doing that. Anime version. This is the Anders arc.
And look, hopefully,
yeah, but just don't sell it to Netflix for a fucking live action because it'll suck.
You take that fucking back. The One Piece fucking live action is amazing.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
I watched the first episode. As a matter of fact,
that idea.
I may as well tell you all. I'm making an anime channel with a fucking friend.
There you go.
After the release of that fucking absolutely amazing masterpiece. We only watched one episode. We're doing every single fucking episode of that. We're gonna watch it and react to it.
It's the best one they've done so far.
Yes, dude.
Still,
I am 800. I'm 823 episodes into One Piece. I'm catching the fuck up. I'm catching the fuck up.
But that's just Stockholm syndrome,
dude. I'm telling you, the fact that they picked that funny ass Brazilian dude to be Luffy, on point. He nailed every part. I will agree.
The casting is fucking good in it.
But did you hear that they're going to cast Jim Carrey as Don Flamingo? Not Don Flamingo. The guy with the flamingo things. What's his name?
I know the guy you're talking about.
The wax dude. Yeah. The wax dude.
Yeah.
Dude. Sigourney Weaver is going to be the doctor that taught Chopper. The chick from, isn't that the chick from, who's the chick from Aliens?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
Dude, supposedly she's trying to get casted as, dude, it is fucking unbelievable. They nailed it. It's the best live action I've ever seen. And I've watched the fucking, I watched the Bleach one. That was pretty good. Bleach one was okay. The fucking Full Metal Alchemist one was horrible. And
one of the worst one, the two worst ones was fucking Death Note and Cowboy Bebop.
Dude,
Cowboy Bebop is still to this day my favorite fucking anime that has ever been made, and they butchered it.
There's only one thing. There is only one thing they got right on that Death Note casting. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is fucking what's his name? Ryuk or whatever his name is. Yeah,
dude, Riku. Bro, that casting, he saved that whole fucking thing. The only reason why that thing held any part was because he played that part so well. everything else about it was shit.
Yeah, the thing that I feel like the Netflix adaptations do wrong is they don't understand the core concept of what made the animes good in the first place.
But the
And
smartest...
that's the problem, that like with Cowboy Bebop, they didn't get that. They made it too much into a drama rather than like a Western jazz future bounty hunter kind of a thing. They didn't get the relationships right. They didn't understand that it's like people running from their past.
Yeah.
That was the concept of what made that good. Death Note, it's a cat and mouse game of two highly intellectual fucking people. They didn't
nail
that,
it.
and they just turned it into an action fucking cop bullshit thing. Fuck off.
Death Note
I'm
basically
so worried
turned
about
into
Avatar
fucking
too.
Final Destination. Watch One Piece. The only reason why One Piece
I watched
nailed
it.
it nailed it. So the pacing was good. Look, if you're into the anime or the manga, it's not gonna, especially if you're into the manga, it's not gonna appease that. The pacing,
no, God, fuck no.
The pacing was good. They covered everything so perfectly, especially in that first episode. I think with an hour that you work with, especially when they consider like you go like fucking 15, 20 episodes, they got to the points really well. They're never going to capture the whole thing. One thing that pissed me off was the Zorro bit in the first episode. They could have done that a bit better. But they got to the point properly. One thing that I loved, what they really nailed, was when Zorro and Nami were like, "We're not your fucking crew." Like the way that they just they just sold it so well. I haven't watched the rest of the episodes.
They get the casting and they get the feel good, but it's the essence of it. And the thing too is, like, you name an anime where you're hooked from episode one. Every anime you have to watch at least. Oh yeah, One Piece. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop got me pretty early on.
Yeah,
but it's like the thing is, you watch any anime like
Neon Genesis Evangelion. You saying hooked from episode 1? Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
But yeah, we're going off on all sorts of crazy stuff.
Here's
I'll
the
let
story,
you.
though. I'm
I'll
sorry.
let you get your one.
We have to talk about this. This is two dudes talk anime, featuring CJ.
Sorry guys, it's completely changed now. It's 3 dudes talk anime instead of 2 dudes.
I'm sorry, you've started something, Kyle, that we cannot.
Well, you're gonna have to guest on his. You're gonna have to guest on his anime channel.
Yeah, you're gonna have to argue with.
I
with
absolutely
me and
fucking
Chris.
will. Well, because here's the thing. Like with any good anime, the thing is, the real story doesn't kick in until at least anywhere from episode 6 to 10.
Yeah,
the
true.
First 5 or 6 episodes is always just character establishing and world establishing on a surface level. Then you have that one episode where all of a sudden you learn a bit of backstory about one of these characters, where you're like, oh, he's just a generic smartass, and then you're like, oh crap, no, he's actually not. I'm hooked now. This is really interesting. This adds another dynamic. Yeah. That's what makes anime so fucking good.
I get what you're saying.
When you first watch it,
but a lot of things that piss me off about it, and this is the one thing that pisses me off about every fucking One Piece, it's the formula. It works. I get it. I don't need to be rehashed on everyone's past every fucking arc. I do not. I do not. I do not. I do not.
As fun as this discussion is, and I'm sure as much as you guys could continue to go for another several hours, we do need to wrap it up.
All right.
So,
we'll take the swimming.
Before we finish this up, before we wrap this one, CJ. Is there anything else that you want to tell people about this tour?
Any little tidbits.
Anything else you want to tease?
Bits of fairy dust that you can
you want to tell people about this tour, because this is your shot to tell people.
There's a lot to tell that's already been kind of said. I kind of feel, realistically, if you are a fan of either of these two bands, this is realistically the only time you're ever going to get to see people of these two bands on the same stage playing songs from these two bands. I can say that this show is going to be something that people aren't going to realize what it's going to be. I feel that the production value, the show, everything in the way this tour is put together is just something absolutely incredible. There's no part of me learning this or being a part of this tour that has not got me feeling happy about it or made me feel like we're not doing this justice in any way, shape, or form. I can only speak for the Anders set. I'm sure Waylon would say the same thing about him doing the Mushroom Head stuff and all of that. But everything I feel on this album, as a person that's been a fan of it before I was a part of this, I feel is being done justice tenfold. Make sure you come out and see this because you are not going to see this again, period. Get your ass to the show, get a ticket, because I predict that the majority of these shows, at least in Australia, are going to sell the fuck out. So get your ass there. This is a good chance. This is an opportunity for me to pay respects to Joey in not only as a fan, but as someone who has learnt so indirectly from him as a drummer. It's something really personal for me to be able to get to do what I'm getting to do on this tour, let alone to be able to do this not only with Anders, but to be able to get to do this with the KAOSIS family as well. The fact is that there are a lot of new things that are being pulled out on this tour and both camps and all this kind of stuff, but to get to share it with a lot of familiar faces and a lot of people that I've had a very intertwined past with, like the Piston Fist crew. Not only did I play a couple of shows with them last year, but through the Disgust era, I played numerous shows with those dudes. I love all of them. It's so good to be able to get to do this tour with them. Same as the S02 crew. We go way back with them to when they were Tai Sui with Nuclear Vision and playing a lot of shows with them. To get to share it with every one of these people is just such an amazing intertwining thing of my past. To get to put it on stage and see it every night is super fucking special for me. So if you're a fan of Slipknot and you don't know this album, come to it. If you know this album and you want to see it live, come to it. If you're a fan of Mushroom Head and you want to see that shit played probably for the last time ever, come to this fucking show.
If you're a fan of fucking Killer's Confession, come to it.
Yeah.
Come and see this shit. There's so much of it that it's kind of like people I think that will miss out on it will really kick themselves for the rest of their lives for not going to the show.
Because this is full of firsts and lasts. This tour. This is going to be from Waylon's perspective. This is going to be his first time performing any Killer's Confession stuff not just in Australia, but outside of North America. It's the first time he's ever performed his Killer's Confession stuff outside of North America. It is going to be the last time he is going to perform any of this Mushroom Head stuff. It is just going to be the first time Anders has performed Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat in 25 years. It is also going to be the last time he is going to be performing Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat. This is a unique opportunity. It is a very special tour. We are so stoked to get it, and I could not be more excited for this tour. And the fact that we've been able to interview everybody for it, and the fact that I'm going to be getting to perform on a couple of these shows is just... that makes it that much more special for me.
The big thing too, I will say, is that, you know, I don't think a lot of people know who the band members are with any of this shit, but if anyone ever wants to come up and have a chat, like, I'm super stoked to get to chill with Kyle for the first time.
Dude,
down
I can't
in Sydney.
wait to meet you in person.
It's gonna be fucking
it's gonna be fun.
We got to do a thing for your socials, man, when we get down
there.
there.
We are. We're going to get a mad photo. Yeah. Like, we're going to do something special. Yeah. You're going to do
this
something special.
This is another thing I am saying that I am doing for this tour, too, is I am bringing a little I want to bring a little Polaroid camera with me as well. And get so those physical fucking things.
Shake it.
Like a Polaroid.
I've actually got one. Yeah. My wife's got one.
Bring it, man. Because the thing is, too, is it's like I feel like this tour is also vintage. You want to be a bit vintage with how you remember it.
Yeah, all that shit. All right. So you've convinced me.
That's kind of how I'm like it. Of course, like I'm gonna get my phone out and fucking take photos, but I feel like that's a special way of doing it. But yeah, I think that really wraps it up. Like, honestly, it's kind of like the best thing that I can tell people about how this tour has come to be. You know, the process of putting this tour together, the process of myself of being a person in the shoes of not only playing with KAOSIS, but Anders and filling Joey's shoes. You know, there's so much of this is a great explanation of how this tour has kind of come to be. You know, I think the only thing I haven't really talked about is the features with KAOSIS, and realistically, there's not much to tell on that front, except for I know Joel has lined up quite a few of them, not only for this release but for future releases as well.
Yeah,
I know
we didn't even
Anders
get
was
to
one of
talk
the
about those, man. Like,
no, and well, the thing is like there's not much.
we'll just have to
really
get you back to talk again when the album's coming.
Yeah, well, I think I can touch on it briefly. I know we're getting late with this, and we're not talking about anime, so I feel like it's worth the time. This is, but realistically, with the features of what's going on with this is a lot of Joel's doing, in wanting to pull people in that can kind of bring the best out of the songs that he's put together for all of this. With the videos, and especially, I know that everyone was filmed on a green screen for these, because I know I couldn't talk about these the last time I was here, but for every video that we've got, everyone was filmed, all the guests were filmed on a green screen, including myself and the band, so that they were all rendered into the videos. And then Joel, basically created all of the 3D environments that he put us in. He did all of the video work for that, which is fucking insane. So, it's pretty cool. Like, I didn't play drums on it, so I know that Jeremiah is the drummer, and he drummed on the new album. To then get to have Anders Cole Stephanie and Jeffrey Nothing, fucking dope for Breaking the Fallen, for Sinking to Grey, having Tony Campos, which people who don't know is like Static X, Fear Factory. It's fucking crazy. Let alone like Logan Mader from the fucking Burn My Eyes fucking era. To get to be in a video with him is fucking insane. And I know there are some future ones that are going to drop some jaws with all of that. And it's really fucking dope to get to be in a video with these fucking people. Is pretty fucking insane to me. Even when I've seen all of the finished product and I go, holy fucking shit, that's me right there. So
are we talking about the video that we're going to play at the end of the?
We're talking about the features, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the features, yeah, because I realized this is one thing we didn't really.
Yeah, you're gonna play the Sink into Grey one.
Of course, man, I got it ready to go.
Yeah, no.
All right.
That's one of my favorites actually to play, and that's on the set coming up. So
one
yeah,
thing
that's
I'm
basically how it
really
all came about.
Interested to see, and look, I'm really stoked to see Anders and Waylon, but I've got to say I'm really interested in KAOSIS. Like,
have you seen us before?
Let me tell you.
No, never. Like, I'm busting my cherry.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you how this happened, right? So, I don't know if CJ was in KAOSIS when I saw KAOSIS for the first time.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think you were. But I was at Crowbar in Sydney.
Yeah.
You talked about this. Psycho Circus, Dark Cell.
I don't know if it was Psycho, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it was. It was Crowbar in Sydney. I can't remember who else was on the show, but I remember KAOSIS and people, like, I'd not heard the name before, but people were like going, oh, KAOSIS, like, it's a, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll check that out then. I'll go in and check it out. And I walked into the room and I was immediately overwhelmed.
Ooh, I like that.
Both visually and orally, I was overwhelmed by what I was experiencing.
You say orally, not orally.
A-U-R-A-L. Orally. Orally is. Okay. It's so YouTube, don't fucking get your knickers in a knot, alright? But I was so overwhelmed just by... There was so much going on. Both musically and visually. The amount of stuff happening in front of me on stage in terms of the performers and all the additional light and lasers that was going on and the music, there was so like a wall of sound and there was all these little things going on. It honestly took me a couple of songs to go, all right, cool, now I'm on board. Like, now I get it. Once I could kind of start to take everything in a little bit more, it just took me a couple of songs to get to that point with it. So I think, and if what you're telling us about this tour is it's giving me like ideas in my head, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So Kyle, you are really in for a treat.
Look, if I can't wait to see the footage you'll get then. I can't wait to see
Be careful with your camera because the fucking lasers have broken numerous cameras in the past from our show.
Nah, if it's like that and you give me permission, I'll stand to the side and out the back.
Dude, I hate to say it, it's something the first time you experience it, you got to be at the front.
Oh, of course I will be. It'll be 2 or 3 songs in.
And
It'll
take
be
it in. Here's the thing. Please, for your own enjoyment of the show, don't film the first couple of songs.
Oh, I won't.
I want you to just watch them and experience them as they are.
All
right? Then you can film a bit of stuff. But like,
cool.
it's just to get that proper experience. Now, look, we've gone long, and I'm sorry that we've gone long.
Who cares? This is
but
our show.
We got to get this kind of wrapped up now. So, thank you for everyone for tuning in.
I'm drunk.
Thank you so much, CJ, for joining us. As we said, you are welcome anytime. You know, we could talk for we could probably talk for another hours and hours and hours without even getting back onto the anime discussion. But I definitely think you have to jump onto the anime podcast that the video is going to be doing. We cannot wait to see you in person and give you some big old hugs and high fives and handshakes and cheers and all that good stuff. We cannot wait to get you on afterwards to talk all about your experience of the whole tour. I'm, as I said, you're super excited for it. I'm really excited to be a part of it too. I have heard through my sources that Null may have a slightly new look as well for the Brisbane show. So,
and I'll tell you what, I'm excited to jump on stage with Nuclear Vision again.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll let the people know that's going to be happening as well. We'll be doing... we'll be getting CJ up with Nuclear Vision for a song at each of the shows as well, so that'll be really, really special because that's always a blast. Always. And Kyle, as you said, you're getting back into the Beer Buddy stuff.
Yeah, man, get ready for that next review this weekend.
So get up on there. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it from us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be throwing to KAOSIS' latest track,
Sink to the Grey,
which is featuring Tony Campos and Logan Mader. And other than that, like we said it 1,000 times, go and buy your tickets for New Metal Mayhem if you haven't already. It's going to be a treat. We will see you guys there. I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing merch at like the Southeast Queensland shows. So I'm going to be around at all those, even the Gold Coast show, which will be good because I can kind of just watch the show a little bit more and do the merch.
Go get a photo with Raph.
Do stuff. Come down and see me. Get a photo with little old me. Hey. And come and buy some merch. Buy some merch and support the fucking bands because buying merch is a great way to support bands.
Especially now that they're not taking 15%.
Yes, especially now that venues are not taking that 15%. But anyway, that's enough from us. Yeah. We're going to play this song. We're out of here. Stay good to one another. We will see you guys at the New Metal Mayhem shows. We will see you guys next week, hopefully for a very special episode. And we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace out, boys.
Peace.